Is there a spiritual way to kill an animal? I'll put it this way. How would Jesus kill an animal?
How would Jesus kill an animal?
That I have no idea.
Him saying, I can kill this animal, or let's do that again. That's not good.
You kind of have to look into the organizations that deliver our ethical and moral frameworks. Those truly are religions. And it ultimately centers around the question, is there an ethical or spiritual way to kill an animal?
Did you find out the answer to that? In your opinion, do you think Christians should expect to be offended by this movie?
Well, how do I say this?
He was crucified for disrupting the culture of the time. It's easier to cover up the truth than to talk about it.
They may be offended and can expect to be challenged by this film, absolutely.
What do you expect they will find to be the most shocking revelation of the movie?
You only have to look at the incidents of the cleansing of the temple.
He drove them out of the temple, cattle, sheep, and all.
Christians are going to be shocked by the full extent of the compassion of Christ, how animals were potentially even a part of his message of love and compassion for all.
It was that act that precipitated his trial and his execution.
Do they want us activists to be crucified?
You have no idea the far-reaching power of the church. They will stop at nothing to keep this truth from getting out.
I think we need to wrap things up.
Are you worried at all about potentially violent backlash, your Westboro Baptist churches of the world, your Islamist groups of the world? Somebody asked me in a comment, the example they used, they said Mel Gibson. Are you worried about the Mel Gibsons of the world?
The theologians involved in the film, they have concerns. They've expressed it to me many times.
Is there any threat or danger making a film like this?
Yeah, you just wait and see.
If your films affect people's beliefs, that will make you a threat in their eyes, and industry will move to neutralize the threat.
When going against mainstream beliefs, especially religious beliefs, you can expect to be threatened.
Mel Gibson, that's a funny one. I hope Mel Gibson sees it. Jimmy Caviezel, who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. Recently, The Sound of Freedom, all about human trafficking. We have a conversation happening, leaning in the direction that we may be able to get him to see a screener of this film. The number one industry that supports human trafficking is the animal exploitation industry, because they've already figured out how to move bodies around the world. It's that much easier to replace it with human. The fishing industry is insane with human trafficking.
Seafood caught in waters around Thailand ends up in markets all around the world. It's a big earner, but one that also comes with a large human cost. It's an industry that depends on low-skilled migrant workers from neighbouring countries. Many of them are trafficked across the borders and sold onto fishing boats, despite being promised other jobs on land.
It's not just that they're being made to work hard, it's the casual use of violence. We're talking to people who have witnessed colleagues, friends, other people on the boats being murdered.
They will stop at nothing to keep this truth from getting out.
You're questioning the lessons and the life teachings of people and establishments with insane power, almost unlimited power. Are you worried at all that the mainstream media turns on you, try to shut down your screenings, they take actions to make sure people don't take it seriously?
I mean, it's already happened. There was orchestration to shut screenings down. There was orchestration to put pressure in a threatening manner towards one of the co-directors of the film, of one of the previous films. And, so it's there. Absolutely. We went on this journey with Netflix for a long time.
This film was first slated as a Netflix original, but it turned out they had a different vision than we did. This film is controversial, and it is also courageous and compelling. It has to be told as is.
The more we went into the story and the deeper, Netflix definitely didn't want to go that direction. Netflix, major media, Meta right now, we're experiencing problems with Meta. There's tons of people flooding our inboxes saying that they can't like or share our posts. But similar to Sound of Freedom, we won't relent.
Why do they want to shut it down?
Animal exploitation is big business.
We're talking about some of the most powerful, profitable industries on the planet.
This industry operates on the basis of guns, political support, media support, manipulated with money, backed by religious feelings.
It's a conspiracy of silence. Nobody talks about it. Nobody shows it.
There's a lot of ties to every industry that you can imagine. Some you wouldn't even think would have ties to the animal exploitation industry do.
Animals were the first form of money, live stock. The buying and selling of sacrificial animals was what sustained the temple.
These are very, very powerful institutions that can lobby and slide money under the table to hush people. I mean, there's literally ag-gag laws to keep people from talking about this stuff. Wayne from DXE, a direct action organization that goes and rescues animals.
Wayne has just been convicted of 1 felony and 2 misdemeanors, simply for trying to help the criminally abused animals at Sunrise Egg Farm and Reichardt Duck Farm.
He's in jail and facing these charges because we have ways that this is silenced, literally. There's just a lot of money at stake for talking about this.
Why would the church want to shut this down?
Well, the centralized church is a business. I mean, I'm as religious, spiritual Christ follower as they come, but I can recognize that there's a business side to the church.
Everyone in the Western world's entire life is affected by the church.
And Christ, I feel, was very aware of that as well. He went into the temple and disrupted the business side of what was going on there. And that's a big part of what we talk about in this film is what was that business?
The truth is that the temple at the time of Jesus was a mass slaughterhouse.
No one's really talked about what was the sole commodity of that business that Jesus was really challenging. The centralized arms of the church, namely, say, the Vatican, or in my tradition, it's the Southern Baptist Convention. It's the second biggest Christian organization in the world. As you'll see in the film, these organizations have connections to some of the biggest businesses that promote animal exploitation through their products. If it got banned by churches or whatever, that ideally that's only going to help the film because it's going to create more interest and intrigue for people to go see it.
Looks like the government's working in collusion with the temple committee.
It's a mafia.
We have to blur out this guy's face or help him, otherwise they're going to kill him.
In the movie, to me, it looks like you were in danger more than once.
Absolutely. I had many times where I was sweating bullets and, heart was racing, not knowing what was going to come next. One of the most dangerous experiences that we had was going boots on the ground at the God of My Animal Sacrifice Festival.
The festival of mass animal sacrifice begins with tens of thousands of Hindus praying at a temple. As part of the ceremony, devotees wash at a nearby river. Then the festival shifts to a nearby corral where scores of butchers with curved swords begin the mass slaughter.
Just 2 Westerners amongst a sea of 4 million people all crowding around to do this mass animal sacrifice, carrying knives. A lot of them are celebrating, so they're ingesting different, intoxicants, etc. And it was definitely pretty nerve-wracking.
We uncovered one of the biggest cover-ups in the last 2,000 years that will transform the course of history and how we look at religion, spirituality, and animals forever.
We do go 2,000 years back and do go into the text to really understand really what was going on. The answers that we find are shocking. But even if you're a Christian that doesn't want to go down that road, that doesn't want to question anything about the scripture, if Jesus were living and walking the earth today, what would he be concerned with? When we're talking about an industry that takes 90 billion lives a year, not including sea creatures, Christians should be thinking about how Jesus would be seeing this right now and what would Jesus do right now.
We have stretch goals to help support the film reach our goal of 1 billion views.
What's your hope for the impact of this?
My personal goal with this is 1 billion people to view it, and for all of those people of various faiths to ask that question and really redefine what being a follower of Christ or a Buddha or of Krishna or of Muhammad is really all about.
Together, let's make the biggest impact the world has ever seen since, 2,000 years ago.
Trust us, it's going to be biblical.
The release.
I'd like to introduce and welcome Nathan Riddett to the show.
Hello,
so, several months ago, our boy Braxton here was on a live stream with a couple guys from the One Great Work Network, and he asked the question that this guy asked in the beginning. Is there a spiritual way to kill an animal? And the guys that he asked kind of threw a temper tantrum and blocked him. So I want to ask you, as being someone from the One Great Work Network, is there a spiritual way to kill an animal?
Well, of course there isn't. But let me first of all define spirituality, and that would be, ultimately knowing right from wrong and living accordingly. So if you know right from wrong, you know it's wrong to take a life that doesn't belong to yours. And no one's got the right to take a life. And it's the animals' lives, right? It's their lives. So no, of course not. But, this is the whole problem. It's religious thinking. That was what that video we just watched was great. But, it's all religion. And, religious people need to know right from wrong. That's what it should. It shouldn't be a belief system. It should be objective truth and morality. So no, the concept of humane murder are 2 diametrically opposed. It's this duality, right? It's cognitive dissonance.
What a great answer.
Thank you.
Cool.
I'd like to add to that. I'd like to add to that real quick too. Is the point of any religion really is that it should be able to, if used right, I guess, is that it should be able to teach people to critically think and to be able to make those moral judgments. You know, it should be like a loose guidance, so to speak. So, I mean, you know, for like that's what I do appreciate about what Christspiracy is doing. But at the same time, people do need to, like your point, they need to come out of that dogmatic sort of way of thinking and start to make their own decisions just based on what's objectively right.
Yeah. Religion's bind, right? You know, as we all know, if we've gone through Passio's work and you know, studied natural law, we know that religions bind, religio religare, to hold back from truth and prosperity and freedom and right action. And that's really what it's all about. You know, all of these religions should be based in right action. And if you're unnecessarily murdering animals, you're going to really have a hard time trying to justify that right action, because it isn't. It's totally unnecessary. So,
Yeah, 100% agreed. Especially when we have the alternatives that we do, not being in a sort of, you know, the Armageddon sort of like civilization that people are thinking that we're moving into, when I mean, you know, things aren't great right now with the economy, but we have plenty of options. We can make the ethical decisions.
yeah, well, you know, it all comes down to morality. And, you know, I've been on the sidelines a little while recently. You know, I've put out quite a lot of work in the past, but I've gone through some personal stuff over the last couple of years. And I've been sat on the sidelines, you know, looking at the state of the truth movement and the freedom movement, and, you know, all of these people that are so-called natural law proponents and say that they're anarchists or that they follow natural law, and they're trying to justify eating animals. And, you know, it's aggravating me, it's angering me, because they're fools, man. It's just they again, the cognitive dissonance. They say they want freedom, but then, you know, to get to freedom, there's certain knowledge that we need, and we've got to walk the path. We've got to walk the path of right action to get to freedom, and you're not going to do it by being immoral. And that's the basis of, I mean, like, yeah, you mentioned the economy and everything else, but we need to get to the root causal problem, and it's a moral thing. And we've got all of these. Can I swear on this channel? Because I'm going to in a minute. So I'm quite passionate about this, but it's just such a clown show. You know, if you're supporting eating animals, you've got a religion. You're not an anarchist. You don't follow natural law. You know, you haven't listened to Passio's teachings at all. You haven't understood them. You know, you're failing in the trivium because you haven't applied that correctly to biological diet for what humans should be eating. You know, we can go down the path of least harm, right? And you're failing there. You know, we can go off the basis of what's morally right and what's biologically correct. If you apply the trivium to this, you failed. You're failing in consciousness. You haven't got your thoughts right. You haven't got your heart right. You don't care. Okay, so you're not taking right action. It's a violation of natural law. Don't steal. They don't understand the law of correspondence. You know, because you're not going to get to freedom all the whilst billions of land animals are fucking being murdered, right? And there's the law of morality. If we want freedom, you've got to be moral. So look at all of the failures of these so-called anarchists and so-called people in the truth and freedom movement, so-called natural law followers. They're jokes. They're clowns. I've had enough, man. It's time I've just say it how it is. There you go.
So I see 9 out of 10 times I see someone talking about doing less harm, they're talking about like not punching their neighbor and stuff. And it kind of makes me laugh because it just falls so flat. And that's like I was saying, it's like almost, you know, because there aren't that many of us around. So it's like 9 out of 10 times it's some guy who's just like, who doesn't even grasp it. And so I kind of wanted to talk on this show about what doing less harm actually means. Because I think, you know, I just think people have like a weird kind of idea of what that word means.
Well, and I think most people freedom community as well, when in regards to the non-aggression principle. I mean, we all know most of them, their application of it stops at humans.
It's very shallow. Yeah.
It's not going all the way, so to speak.
And it's like, how much of your life's time and energy does it take for you to figure out how to not aggress on your neighbors? Like, I feel like that was one of the first things I understood when I was red pilled, in like 2011, like I was like, oh, okay, non-aggression principle. And I had videos I made back then of the non-aggression principle because it made complete sense. There were a lot of videos and, the Mark's Trivium video, like there were a lot of videos back in the day that really, made me understand very clearly, like what was going on. And so yeah, like doing less harm, at least like to us, we live off grid. We use, like probably a 16th of the amount of water a normal person uses, a 16th amount of the energy. It's more than just, not punching your neighbor. It's not allowing the government to control you and get you to be on their side in the psychopathic chaos that we have going on in the cities. We're completely brainwashed to just use as much as we want and just generate revenue for the tax machine or the death machine and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and to exploit. We have a culture of exploitation. I mean, even obviously we're all vegans, we understand the animal rights aspect and how animals are exploited, but even just like like Jeffrey was saying, we live off the grid, but like composting, like all this waste that
we don't have a lot of trash
throw into the trash dump, versus giving back to the environment, not just the environment as this big kind of like non-specific thing we all talk about, but the environment around us. Like, what are you doing for the environment around you? So it's, again, extending those principles and going all the way. How are you doing the least amount of harm and not being aggressive to your environment around you?
Yeah, it's taking agorism to the extreme. It's eliminating yourself from society as much as we can, still being here. And it doesn't mean going off and living in the desert and not doing anything. It just means, freeing up some time and freedom and liberty to do better activism and do more than just sit around and complain about the government. I'm so sick of people complaining about the government. Like, I get it. We all got it. Like, it's been I've been into this stuff for 12, 13 years, being against the government. And I grew up, even growing up, I was pretty naturally an anarchist. So this is all really old news to me. And these guys are trying to get famous, just like complaining the same old stuff that Ron Paul was talking about in 2011, like it's all really like, I get we got to spread the message, but we can eat and chew gum at the same time. We can do more than just complain about government. And these guys complaining about government from the rooftops, outwardly pointing, making excuses and blaming their life and their position on others. These guys aren't. It's just it's weird, and it's frustrating. Ever since day one, I went, I was like, all right, immediately, like, how do I take a bulk of my taxation money away from the government? Like, you just have to start working towards these things constantly. And so many people just stop. They have their taxpayer job. They feel like they're entitled enough to buy a new car every couple years. They're completely in the system. And these guys are screaming at me, saying that, like, I'm a Satanist because I'm promoting good value, good morality and stuff. So it's kind of just, I'm just, this podcast is called Vegan Group Therapy. It's kind of like, our little place to get together and, do our own thing. But yeah, I mean, what do you think, Braxton? What do you think, John Bob? John Bob hasn't said anything yet.
What's up, guys? How you doing? I think there was a couple things earlier. You brought up our neighbors, I think the animals are our neighbors. I think that was the entire point of Jesus's message. I mean, you don't live closer to anybody than you do the animals. I go out my door, there's squirrels there. I feed them. They're friends. And there was that. And then you brought up people claiming you're talking wrong, or you got to be against the government, against the government, against the government. That's all you focus on. And if we bring up like the actual source of the problems, then we got people like Padini saying, "Oh, you're doing it wrong." But honestly, I think we really need to focus on the source of these problems. I mean, you don't get more of a, I mean, let's face it, farms where we keep animals as slaves, humans are just slaves. It's like the original form of government. It's where people get the idea of ownership. I mean, how do we keep the system of enslavement and control and government in place for the animals, and then teach our kids government's bad?
Exactly. Yeah.
Bracky, do you remember what?
Correspondence again. We're never going to be free all the whilst we enslave animals. And George Bernard Shaw quote springs to mind about our neighbours. Animals are my friends, and I do not eat my friends.
No.
That's simple and true.
Braxton, what did the guy say about the chickens, his wild chickens? He said that they were leaving eggs around for him.
Yeah, basically this idea that they were leaving them freely, that it was like a gift that, almost as if they were like encouraging him to take the eggs. It's like
they were leaving them around for them.
Yeah, I mean,
first they were wild chickens, which wild chickens don't really, I mean, they exist, but you're not going to move into a house and have wild chickens growing in the back. And if you have wild chickens, they're only laying, like a dozen eggs a year. So these weren't wild chickens. So he was wrong about them being wild chickens. And then the idea that they're leaving around. So an egg, you're by eating an egg, you're enslaving the chicken. That chicken had to work 24 hours, poking around, risking its life, going far away from its home where it's safe, to go find food, to create enough protein and whatever to make that egg. And then you just jack it, and if they don't fertilize the egg, they re-eat it, so they don't have to go risk their lives to go do all that work to create the egg again. So when you're taking the egg, you're absolutely enslaving the chicken, and you're lowering the chicken's health and lowering its quality of life immensely. But for someone on the One Great Work Network to make these excuses that, I'm not gonna take the final step because I have chickens in my backyard that are wild and they're leaving eggs around for me to eat, is just pretty ridiculous. But this was in the rant. He included that in the rant after Braxton asked him the question that he never ended up answering. Right, Braxton? I don't remember how that went exactly. It was a while ago.
I never really got an answer. It turned into basically him just kind of doing mental gymnastics to avoid answering the question. And then I mentioned that we do this weekly show and that he was more than welcome to come on and have a civil discussion, but he was already so like dug down that he wasn't willing to see reason, I guess, or even talk it out.
So they vilified us and said we were doing a bunch of things we don't do, because on this show we watch activist videos and we kind of critique them, and some of them are very good videos and some of them are very bad videos, and we have good activists who make bad videos and we critique those, like some of the guys that we respect the most sometimes make really bad content, and so we aren't just here talking crap about people. We're trying to make our brothers in the truth movement better. So it's really funny to hear what they think about us. Oh yeah. Introducing Slav Squatch to the chat.
Oh, hi.
He's also
Hey,
new to
everyone.
the show. Sorry about that, bro.
Sorry, it's not easy to switch the camera. I'll just switch it around like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I am really glad that you picked this topic up. I mean, I was going gung ho with it like years ago, like a little bit before COVID. I was going for the jugular with everybody, like everybody I knew. And then, like, I don't know if COVID hit or what happened, but the demoralization, that's just the symptom of the society we're in. Like, once they implement the demoralization, the highest principles, the highest attributes that humanity's aspiring for suffer. And that was evident because, I mean, in Philly, like our top vegan restaurant shut down, the one that me and Barb used to go to. And the girl in there, she's like, "Oh, I know Mark's work." Of course you do. But it's just, for me, it was so demoralizing. And I mean, it was hard to keep people together on the vaccination argument, let alone any other like principle. And I'm just so glad that you guys have picked this up, and you guys are going forward with this systematically. You're not like attacking people or anything. You're just doing healthy criticism, and these people should be able to, if they're principled people, they should be able to converse with you. They should be able to talk these topics with you. I mean, I understand the farmer, maybe he hasn't come to certain knowledge in his life, but that there's people that just, they don't have any more excuses. I mean, 5-6 years ago, they're still in the same spot. Like, they have not budged at all. They still have the same talking points, the same straw men, the same stupid, like non-logical even arguments. It's just like, just say, like, some people like that still eat meat. They never stand up for their actions. Like, there's people I know that are principled, but they still can't get over their carnism, but they will not argue for carnism. At least don't argue. Take another topic, like house cleaning, or like, I don't know, like something else they can do, but they don't. They feel slighted by it, and they get triggered by it, but they should shut their mouths about it. If they it just gets me so triggered. I can't anymore. I've burst my bubble.
And it's you got to get your principles right. You got to get your first principles, and it's nothing different than a religion. It's no different than fake ass Christians that just want to think themselves as good people because they go to church once a week. Because they say that they're fucking anarchists, or that then proponents that they teach natural law, or they're natural law people. They want to think.
Meanwhile, in the basement, they're sacrificing bloodletting into the morphogenic field.
Go all the way with the morality. Right from you say, right from wrong. You're not walking the walk, so you're a clown. You're a fucking idiot. You're failing. In consciousness, you failed the trivium. What I said right at the very beginning. You've not got your thoughts right. You haven't sorted out your black heart, and you're not taking right action. So you say you want freedom, then take the right action. Don't give it all of that when you're not doing the right action. It's getting to me, man.
I feel they still don't know the value of their action or inaction. I just feel like they have a level of self-loathing where they think that their actions don't really matter in the long run. That's the way I feel about these people, that they have a level of self-loathing that their actions themselves don't matter, but they do matter. This matters. What you do, what you witness, what you let happen matters. And that's we've been telling everybody, trying to tell these people that, I don't know if you ever heard Mark talk about it, but like, that's what really like opened my eyes about it, is like the ley lines and how they, they put slaughterhouses everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
I did research
all
on that
over,
as
and
well.
they concentrate them. And there's this concept Jay Parker talks about, the morphogenic field, and how this field of energy, life energy, has channels, and how this murder, this mass murder, is lowering the vibrations, and it's designed to do it.
For sure. Sure. Going back to the eggs, right? What you're saying about the eggs. I mean, no doubt that there is less harm than actually taking an animal's life, right? Certainly if the chicken has left it there for a day or whatever. But then you come back to, is it actually biologically right to be consuming it when you look at how high the levels of the fats are in the egg? Should you be eating chicken periods? Probably not.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I didn't know you were still going. You keep going.
That was all I had to say about the chicken and the egg.
I have a problem with chickens right now, and these chickens keep eating my fucking dragon fruit plants, and I kind of want to punt a chicken, but even though I don't like these motherfuckers and they're fucking up my farm, I recognize that they have the right to exist and that they're just eating. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Easy
there.
Well, I'm just saying, we don't have to like something to treat it with respect to understand. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, these people try and claim they're animal lovers and then like justify hurting them. And here us vegans are like, we don't even need to like an animal to recognize that we shouldn't hurt it for no reason. So.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't joke about punting one, fuckers. They've got 20 dragon
Problem
fruit
solving
so far.
requires thinking without mass murder. Problem solving is better with thinking and not mass murder.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's easy to just say, put them all against the wall, but I mean that's obviously what our enemy is doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we literally have to muddle through and deal with these things and be the example. And you guys are doing it. We're doing it. I mean, I feel great being on here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was interesting the other day, Steve. Yeah, we're gonna call you Steve because our cat's named Steve and my dad's named Steve, so Steve's easier. You mentioned COVID kind of took the wind out of veganism, and I was like, man, I never put that together. That is kind of interesting. There was a big vegan rush going on before COVID happened, and everyone their COVID-19 over that amount of time, and that didn't come from vegan food, and like a lot of the restaurants got shut down. But that might be all of who was it, the comedian Kevin Hart's, he made a chain of vegan restaurants that just shut down. They only were open a couple months, unfortunately.
The good
like
whole food organic plant-based shops around me, the nearest ones to me have all shut down as well. There's two really good ones, fairly local, and there's a really cool organic vegan restaurant as well that shut down. So it has hit, because I think the cost of the organic food is slightly more expensive, and their profit margins were less, and they've been hit hard. And it's a shame to see good quality shops that's selling high quality food. Yeah, it's a shame. It can still be sourced.
It's I just go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of like relate it to my going vegan experience, because at first I was vegan more for the health, right? And then I broke for a number of years, and then I went back and realized that it was the moral thing to do, and I'm never going back. But it just shows how the natural law, side of things to the vegan side of things, it's just those principles might have not been as as firm in those people's hands, or I just feel like the
They don't really
moral
know, do they?
argument, the moral aspect of it has to be more instilled into people. Not, there's people that just follow trends out there, and they have very little basis, foundation, principle to do what they're doing. Maybe they just need that. Yeah.
I agree. I am new to, so I do a lot of debates with guys on like health and environmental impacts and stuff like that. And like, honestly, all the moral stuff is very, a little too new to me, that I'd like to admit. So I have been, it is far more, like Devin, one of our regulars, Devin, he'll show up sometimes to the show or to some debate I'm having, and he's just like, why are you guys talking about health? This is a moral issue, and it's true. This is a moral issue, and that is the most important part of the issue. Whether or not it's healthy or environmental or whatever is irrelevant. It's immoral above all. And what I don't understand about these truthers, who should understand this more than anything, these truthers that scream about being enslaved by the government, is I don't understand how they don't understand that they're enslaving animals. And if they had power, they would do the same things that the guys in the government are doing to us. They don't make that connection, and it really like freaks me out, because it's a lot of smart people that I know that they're like, no man, it's just animals, it's not slavery. No, it's slavery.
Yeah,
What
there's
you
no
are
heart
doing,
there. You say intelligent people, but there's no true intelligence. There's no heart-based intelligence, right? And then their intellect's not right. They haven't done the trivium properly. They haven't done the grammar and rhetoric stages. And what Steve was saying about, he did it firstly for a nutritional basis. Well, I kind of did it. They both go hand in hand. Once you truly know, with the capital K, right from wrong. It's objectively wrong to steal, right? When you know that, and then you do your research on your own, and you know that you can exist without eating animals. You can have a super healthy life and get all of your nutrients without harming any animals at all. You've got to go all the way with it, because if you don't go all the way, then you don't really know or care, and these people haven't obviously studied Marx's work properly. And they say that they have. It's just, they're jokes, man. They're fucking jokes. And we're not going to get anywhere, We're not, as a community and as a movement, we're not going to get anywhere. All the whilst there's just so much discord and so much murky, muddy water, Rights are rights and wrongs are wrongs. There's no fucking justifications. You say you want freedom, then fucking walk the walk. Stop fucking talking shit. Excuse my French, but it is. I know I'm talking truth here. Sorry, thanks for the platform as well. I need to vent a little bit. This is just a joke.
I think you guys are right. Ultimately, that is the point. I mean, it's about the animals, but at the end of the day, I mean, the environmental argument isn't wrong. The health aspect isn't wrong. And if that's what somebody needs to open that door, like I myself, I did it for my health. I didn't care about the animals. And I think when you're consuming those animal hormones, that you don't have the ability to think clearly and empathize with what those animals are going through. It wasn't until I was vegan for a couple months that I started to realize, oh shit, like I was doing something really violent and wrong here. I was blind, oblivious to it, So I guess I fully support people teaching veganism the right way, the wrong way. I don't think there's a wrong way to spread the right message. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's, it all comes down to morality. All of these governments, all of these religions, everything we see that's going on in the world, there's just no true moral underpinning and true moral education. And, and then we've got these people that are meant to be on the right side, true anarchists, truly moral people. And they're justifying eating animals. It's just I can't really get my head around that.
I'd argue that you're wrong about that.
What's that?
I don't think they're real anarchists. How the fuck can
Well,
you
no,
be a real
exactly. Well, they're
anarchist?
saying they are. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
they're
freedom.
fake as
That's
fuck.
what they care. My freedom. Idiots. That's what they are.
You know?
They're the
Exactly.
epitome, and Jeffrey pinpointed this. They're the epitome of tent pitchers. The my freedom. They're the libertarians. You know, at the base of the mountain in that tent, Mount Stupid or whatever.
Just what kind of
And Ollie too. Allie as well. I remember she mentioned that.
You know, like what you guys are saying about the agorism and less water, less electric, and off grid, and doing your own food and everything like that. That's great, man. That's amazing, and we should all do is more of that. But the moral issue is way more harmful than anything else that's going on at the moment. If we can actually get to a critical mass of people that understand natural law and truly change the dynamic, then we can have Tesla energy and we can use hemp and all of this stuff, and the environmental costs will just drop right down. We can truly live, but we live in abundance. We can create heaven on earth, right? But we're not going to create heaven on earth all the whilst most people are immoral and they can't even tell you what a right is, and then half the people that say that they know what a right is are still fucking eating animals. Like we're going nowhere, like really fast.
Real quick to your point, also, with people having the trivium process all mixed up or like doing things improperly, like there's a lot of truth to that, because in like comedy or just in general, when something rings true, it's because it's correct, or something being funny because it's true. That's a really big point that a lot of people miss out on. But like we've kind of touched on this point that carnists can't meme, because anytime they try to make some sort of a joke, it's just this old tired trope of something that it's something that's assumed because they heard it from somebody else. They heard it somewhere else on the internet. They never actually went back and went through the trivium process to gather the grammar to even know what they're talking about, to build the logic, to have proper rhetoric.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a right is something that right basically in a sense means that something is right, it's correct, or it's true. So these guys aren't right. Yeah, they're not only like logically, and I mean they're not only like logically incorrect, but they're wrong morally in like everything that they're doing. So it's like we come to this point where we have to use discernment and actually set the record straight, show people where they're having that disconnect, so we can actually have honest conversations. Like that's the biggest part of what this show has been about, is like setting the record straight.
Yeah, it's been really fun this last couple of months calling people Satanists, because they like laugh, and I'm like, what? Define Satanism, and they either say something. They usually say something dumb, or I'll pull it up, and it's basically living your lifestyle in a extremely selfish way, and they're just all, and I'm all, don't you do that? Especially around carnism, like being a carnist, aren't you being pretty selfish with your lifestyle? And then they're just like, they vanish into the dark, into the background. But yeah, the Satanism thing, is really an interesting part of, they hide it. They've hidden it from us because they say, oh, it's people, doing sacrifices in the forest, in a candle circle with a pentagram in the middle, like it's just that when it's fun having your eyes open to the fact that you see that stuff and what they're doing, and it's straight up evidence of how evil the system is and the people that are in power. But yeah, these.
I was going to say, that's what Satanists want people to think. They want to picture it as some red-horned, Christian perspective of the devil with, the pentagram in the woods and the dark robes and the animal sacrifices and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's moral relativism, it's ego, it's selfishness, and it's being in cognitive dissonance, it's duality, animalistic nature. And that's exactly where all of these people are. They're de facto Satanists, and they can fucking argue as much as they want about it, but by definition, they're de facto Satanists. If you're eating animals, and also all the whilst you're saying, oh, it's moral, or, you know, I'm teaching natural law, or I'm an anarchist, you're in duality, you're in cognitive dissonance. And yeah, you know, I wish these people would go through the trivium properly. I really do. They should. They need to do more research. They need to actually generate care in themselves, care about them and care about the animals, care about freedom, care about the planet, right? It's just a massive, massive failure. And this needs to be spoken about, this because it's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
What do you, Daniel Barber here? I'm wondering if this is a lesson of patience. We must not be self-righteous. Why not? We're better than them. I picked on a little old lady 2 weeks ago at church. I was better than her too. So I was walking home, well, walking around my neighborhood, and I cut through the church parking lot, and they were setting up an event, and I walked over, and can't remember exactly how the beginning of the conversation went, but they were getting ready to feed people hot dogs and bratwurst. And I said, yeah, what did I say exactly? I said, if God wants us to eat chemically reacted corpses that are type 1 carcinogens and cause disease and pestilence, I wonder what the devil would want. Just shredded this old lady, and I walked away. Oh man, nuked.
Hilarious.
Right? I mean, why would we be nice to these people? We should be self-righteous. We are on the right side of history. We shouldn't be passive or weak about our message. We got to throw it out there to anybody. Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
man.
you're right.
You know, as long as you know, you're speaking truth. I mean, people often perceive it as arrogance, you know, or self-righteousness, or you're up on your soapbox. Okay, fine, that's your perspective. But have what I've said, is it fucking true or not? That's all that matters. Is it true, what I've just said?
Exactly.
And also there's a distinction of the word kind, or like responding in kind, or even just speaking what needs to be said versus being nice, which, you know, the etymology of the word nice essentially means stupid, that you're acting in a form of ignorance, we're ignoring something. So, I mean, we can take the approach of like being silent and being ignorant to the situation or what's going on, turning a blind eye to the issue, or we can actually address it in an objective way and just point out the inconsistencies.
Those who dare not offend cannot be honest. That's the quote.
So I'm going to lighten up the conversation for a little bit. We watched this video. We saw this video the other day that's hilarious. This guy, this is just the epitome of what we're talking about. It's so funny.
What's up, guys? Hope you all are doing well. Today, I am doing something that I never thought I would do. I am going vegan for 24 hours. We're at Snooze right now, which is a very popular place to eat breakfast when you're eating normal breakfast, or I guess my normal breakfast, but they have vegan options. So we're going to head in here. We're going to see what I can order and figure out how many calories it is and get the day started. And hopefully it's not too gross, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to do 2 of the tofu scramble, and then with that you pick. Okay.
And then you can have 3 on us, but you can have like 20 if you want. It's on you.
Okay, so if I like do sweet pickled peppers, avocado, and then if I add more tofu, then
that's totally fine. So it's just on us.
Perfect.
Scramble right there.
So here is how we are starting. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit concerned.
So right off the bat, he goes to a place and gets tofu scramble, which, you know, isn't the greatest. You know, like it could be done pretty well, but if you go to a random restaurant that serves meat and that's the only thing they have, it's probably going to be kind of not great. So this is already kind of leaning in a funny direction. But it just gets
about this, but
getting better.
This is only one of them. I think there's some confusion whether I ordered 2. I did order 2, so I'm hoping that the first bites of this are tolerable. That's all I can really say, because it's going to be a long day if this is how we start, and I don't like it. So I literally don't know how to describe that taste. It kind of maybe need some salt. Let's do a little bit of that. Salt helps, kind of.
Like, look at that. That doesn't look like a good tofu scramble. Like, I don't know.
It just
But
reminds
he's
me
being
of
a baby.
Tofu scramble. Is that like a replacement for an egg or what?
pretty much, yeah. It's like scrambled egg, but it's a little more, it's thicker. Like it can be tofu scramble you can use for like tacos, just like a really quick, simple like egg replacement or meat replacement. But like this style of eating, it just reminds me of like going out with just everyday people to like a restaurant that is more of like a bar and grill kind of place. Like you go to like Applebee's or something, and all you have is like some really lame salad or French fries, and then being out with people, it's like, well, having a salad and French fries, might as well have a beer. Like it's like you settle because the options are so low because it's not food the way that it's supposed to be.
And then it's $40.
I've had some quite nice tofu scrambled egg in the a couple of 3 times. But yeah, you know
this
you can
girl
eat
can make a
vegan
tofu
junk
scramble,
food as
that's
well,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah, you can definitely make it really good if you know what you're doing, for sure.
Oh, before I forget, yeah, that's another thing. This whole you don't get enough protein thing that these guys like throwing around. Obviously, old story, but like humans control the amount of protein that they intake. It doesn't really make sense that they're like giving all the responsibility to it's like this their argument would like be like, oh, in veganism only allows you to eat 40 grams of protein a day cap, no matter how much you eat. Like it doesn't make any, like their arguments just don't make any sense because I control how much protein I eat in a day. If I want a lot of protein in a day, I eat a lot of protein. If I don't, I don't. So it's really odd.
It's a crisis of ignorance.
Arguments.
And look at all the biggest land animals on the planet. They all eat plants. Animals don't even make the protein. They get it from the plants. Some of the highest protein, easiest assimilated foods for the human body are plant-based. It's just so much ignorance. I had someone the other day, right? I had someone the other day say to me when we were talking, it's like, how do you look so healthy if you're a vegan? I was just like, oh man, like this is what we're up against, like.
Nathan, you got a cool accent.
Oh yeah, thank you, mate.
You make this stuff sound so much cooler.
It's probably just different to you guys.
Maybe you could do like an intro for my show.
Yeah, man, no worries. Tell me what you want me to say. Yeah.
Yeah, touch of erudition. Mark Devlin was just in town. Well, not just.
Yeah,
but
Mark
a few months
Devlin's
ago.
cool. He's a busy guy. I can't even get him on the show.
I've done quite a lot of work with Mark. Yeah, he's sound.
Yeah.
Definitely shouldn't have done that. That's hot.
Well, yeah, wait till it cools off, dumbass.
So this is my problem right now. I've been staring at this piece, and this is definitely a corner. Like you can tell that it came in some type of container. You guys can see that. Eggs don't do that.
Oh no, eggs do that if you cook them in a container. My lord. Oh no, it doesn't resemble animal excrement to me, so it's not real food.
Yeah,
Give
it's
me
not like
someone mildly processed this, therefore it's not real food. Give me a break, baby. Big baby. This guy needs to put a big diaper on.
I've been looking at this. And that's
what about hard-boiled
bothering me. So I have to get this out of the way.
Yeah, hard-boiled egg looks like that if you give me a break. Put a corner on it.
Number 2, man. Boom. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You're gonna get the salt. We're gonna make this.
What's he doing?
What is that? A second serving?
So I gotta say, going through everything I had to force feed with my diet early years, trying to gain weight, that type of stuff. That was, I feel like, almost easier, or was easier just based on the texture of this. And then you see stuff like this, and that literally has lines. I don't know if we can zoom in there, but it has lines from the container, the whatever this was in. And I'm seeing stuff like that. And then when you put this in your mouth, it just breaks apart. Like there's no substance, and I can't compare it to anything because I don't know that there's anything like that. And it's not eggs. Okay, so my conclusion is that eggs are absolutely delicious.
Not eggs, therefore bad.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of tofu. I don't know.
All right.
It's the big thing. It's like a major problem with people trying to go vegan or plant-based, right? Is just trying to find this exact replica of some food, some animal-based food that you were eating before, and then just being dismayed that it doesn't taste like it and just focusing on the ways it doesn't taste like it. You have to accept things as different dishes. Like a tofu scramble, there's things you can do, right? Like black salt and nutritional yeast and stuff to make it seem more eggy, but you have to, your palate changes. And it would be interesting if he sought out a restaurant that was known for making good tofu scramble. I don't forget if he mentions it or not, but I think he was just saying this is a restaurant that he normally goes to where he gets normal breakfast food and likes. But yeah, it's just that common meat eater thing where it's like
dishonest.
Oh, this veggie patty, I can see rice grains in it. Disgusting.
Gross.
This tofu, you can see the
getting fatter.
Yeah.
Wait. Is that a bootlegger shirt?
Yes, it is a
Oh
bootlegger
yeah,
shirt.
that's a bootlegger shirt. For sure.
What a surprise that the domination, the guy, supporting the domination of humans has no qualms with dominating the entire animal species. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy.
Have you guys seen the documentary? I Like It Raw.
I gotta say, it was an experience. I've never been so close to amazing food because it's delicious to eat there, and had to eat stuff that I was that concerned by. And the fact that it's in my stomach is really disturbing. I probably could throw up right now just based on thinking about that. So I gotta stop thinking about it because we've got to move on to meal number 2. Time for meal number 2, and we were doing some research about where to find vegan food. And this happened to pop up. So this is a vegan van, and it's a food truck that goes around, parks different spots, and you can get vegan food from it. So we're going to go show them some love and figure out what we can get for my next meal. I'm not sure. So I would like to get 6 soft tacos with a seitan, 1 order of the seitan wings, and then 1 order of fries.
Anything else for you?
No, I think that'll do it. And there we go.
Again, he's eating like 90s era vegan food. Seitan's good, Seitan's all right, but for some guy off the street, he needs to try something that's like an actual vegan restaurant that specializes in like a chicken sandwich or something like that. You're not going to taste a difference in the least bit. Seitan, it's a little weird, and unless you're vegan and you have a palate for it, a taste for it, it's going to be a little odd because it's like a weird little patty with a little beans in it, and it's like kind of strange. But we love it. Braxton made tacos once with seitan. It's like you can't tempeh. Oh, tempeh, similar. Yeah. Any of that old texture vegetable protein, anything like that is very like 90s, 80s era, 70s era vegan food. The cashew technology around cashew products these days is out of control. You cannot taste the difference between vegan ice cream and regular ice cream anymore. The cheeses are getting better. Even Daya updated their updated their formula, and it's way better. Not that we eat much of that stuff, but it makes things
Mark
a little
was
bit more
saying,
interesting.
Sorry, bro. When Mark was saying, how Mark's Italian. He's always into that mozzarella. They're trying out this new mozzarella somewhere in San Francisco, I heard, in like all the restaurants. I forget I didn't really hear the name. I'll try to get that info.
I think, if you're feeding your body everything it needs and you feel full, you're satiated after your meal, it's not difficult. It really isn't. And all of the flavors come from the plants and the spices and stuff. It just so, if people are just so conditioned, to have chicken with everything, or, beef, or, just the conditioning more than anything. But if you replace it with the plants, You know, like I did fajitas last night with black beans instead of chicken. I did a curry yesterday with or was it the day before? You know, sweet potato curry with chickpeas. You know, it's really not that difficult. But yeah, this is just a normie trying sort of almost, well, it's vegan junk food in a way, really, isn't it? You know, well, there's some rather than something wholesome.
Good.
Yeah, that's why I always go back to Dr. Greger from nutritionfacts.org, his daily dozen. I always try to incorporate as much of those foods into, like, I emphasize flavor and seasonings like first and foremost, but at the same time, I'm making sure that I'm putting as many healthy foods as I can stuff into it without it being overbearing. And then eventually you learn how to make these super healthy foods taste even better than like when you were eating meat. And people don't understand that that's actually a lot easier than they might think. It's the beauty of
I
the
saw
vegan.
Braxton put 9 different salsas on a burrito once.
Yes, I'm very indulgent when it comes to sauces.
You guys are around each other? That's lucky. Must be nice to have friends that are local.
Yep, went down there for a little bit, and we got to see what it's. Well, I got to see what it's like to be around other vegans because I haven't really been around too many. The area that I live in, it's like they're few and far between, and there's always some kind of disagreement that makes it where like, I wouldn't really want to hang out with that person too much. But yeah, hanging out with them for a while, it was refreshing.
Yeah, man, it really is a barrier. I mean, I try to get along with people, you know, but it never lasts. Like if they're not, you know, on the same plane morally.
Alone.
Yeah. It's like,
So what's it like to have friends? I don't know. Let alone ones that are near you.
I'll be right back, guys. I gotta let my dog out. Let's go then, sweetie.
All right, man.
Come on.
All right, we'll get back to this video. Watch this guy cry some more like a little baby, a little carnist baby.
He's definitely gonna cry over the fake ribs because it's just all fake meat with nothing else. So
Which
we're
is
just gonna
like,
watch
yeah.
a giant man cry over eating some fake meat. With the
Starting off with the fries. The fries are great. Literally, really, really good. Those are going to be where if I do need to take a break from anything, that's going to be my go-to. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried about the wings, the way that those look and smell to me, but whatever. So let's do a taco. I mean, if you handed this to me and said it was a real taco with meat, I would say there's something off with the meat. But I mean, it has some flavor to it. I'm not gonna lie, it's not my favorite. Better than the first couple bites of breakfast. We'll put it that way. I don't really know what to say about the wings because those are.
And honestly,
again, it's what I'm trying to do.
Honestly, those do look a little like those would be a lot to take on. A solid chunk of seitan like that. That's gonna. Unless you like seitan, you're not gonna like
unless you have, like you said, that have that developed palate, a plant-based palate, you're gonna be like, ugh. Even if it's really good sauce, probably the texture is gonna be off. It's not gonna be like a rib. It's not gonna be like flesh on bone. Sorry.
Like there are vegan sandwich chains that you could go to, and you get a sandwich there. It doesn't taste anything different than a carnist sandwich. Yeah,
it's just
so
based on taste. So yeah, I mean, after this, he totally feels himself justified to go kill, you know, a cow or a pig, you know, whatever.
And he really got us. Wow, we all look stupid now.
Trying to not think about the fact that this is not real meat, and to me,
not real meat.
Looks like this is kind of. Again, like breakfast, right? Kind of sliced up.
Imagine it's dead animal.
But it doesn't really look real. Obviously, it's not real. But you know, when it's in a taco, I can kind of try to trick myself and say, okay, that's just ground beef. Maybe it's a little off. Whatever. That's not bad. That was okay. This is harder to do that. Much harder to do that because it's just a piece of whatever this is. So, all right, here we go. Okay.
He doesn't even know what he's eating. He doesn't know the name of what he's
honestly,
eating.
it has to. From
And he's putting it in his mouth.
That one, like just looking at it right now, is making me kind of sick. So I'm gonna do the tacos, and I'll get the French fries down.
Without a doubt, didn't set out to do an unbiased video. That's for damn sure.
What a beta!
There it is. There it is. There's John Bob. What a beta. John Balls is in the house.
Let's say the tacos overall of everything I've eaten today so far would be the best, right? So they're not that bad. What I should have done is I should have eaten all six tacos first before trying one of those things. Yeah, we'll move on. Move on to, I'm not sure what'll be next, but I got to go back, head back to the office, and I got a little bit of work to do there, so we might grab some food while I'm there just to keep things rolling. All right, guys, we are back in the office. Had to jump back into some work, but we've got to keep going with the vegan food. So Trifecta hooked me up with some of their vegan options that they offer. Now, obviously, I work with Trifecta. We have made our way, right? Like if you gave, so we're gonna have made our way down to Denver, and we are at a restaurant called the Mellow Mushroom. So basically just doing online research, trying to figure out the best place to get vegan food options. And apparently this place has a very good vegan pizza. So after all this other food, I felt like pizza would be a good option, a good way to go. And they have vegan cheese. They have, I guess, vegan crust. The whole setup is vegan, so we're gonna be good. Actually, a really cool place here, which is off of the 16th Street Mall in Denver. So other than fighting a little bit of traffic to get down here, it's actually a pretty cool spot. So kind of neat to get out, and I'm hoping that the pizza is good. The pizzas came out, and overall, I gotta say they look pretty good. Smell test, they smell good as well, and I'm excited. The pizza review here was really good when I saw it, so I guess we're just gonna have to test it out and see how it is. The cheese is different. I would say that's probably the biggest thing, but the sauce is phenomenal. Yeah, cheese is strange. I've never had vegan cheese like this, but overall flavor good, and not surprising. This is now my favorite, I think, that I've had. So we'll put these down hopefully with not much of an issue. Got both pizzas down. Cheese was a little bit.
I don't think I could eat that much vegan cheese. Honestly, tell you the truth. That's pretty, like, he's used to eating a lot of gross, like high fat, greasy, dairy stuff. So like Daya, like any of the cheese, like on a pizza, it has to be like lightly sprinkled with that stuff, because I can't. It's just not a great, like these processed vegan foods are just kind of whatever, they're not health foods. So it's like I don't like going overboard on it. Doesn't taste good.
400 pounds though, so just think about how many calories he needs in a day, and fat has the most calories per gram. So yeah, he's just trying to get the calories in, I guess.
Yeah.
And has he eaten like?
Okay, he handled it well, because like after a couple pieces of vegan pizza, I'm like, oh, this cheese is kind of,
I've never had vegan cheese, so I can't really describe what that was all about. But the pizza sauce was on point. Other than that, I feel like the pizza was great. I'm hoping it sits a little bit better on my stomach. That's probably the worst thing that I'm going through right now is a stomach discomfort. If I'm being completely honest, it's not good, and I can tell that my body's struggling digesting. But we got to end with dessert. So we're going to transition from now into dessert. We are ended the day with dessert. We found this place called Menchie's, which is a frozen yogurt place, but they have a vegan option. So we're going to head in there and figure out what the vegan option is and get some of it so that I can have dessert and finish the day out. All right, so here are my options.
Help with your digestion.
Vegan blueberry lemonade sorbet or a pineapple flavor soft serve. So I'm going to go pineapple flavor soft serve. Oh, that's good. Get in there. Nice. Nearly a perfect. So perfect. Okay, I haven't done it a lot, but it's perfect. So since mine is pineapple and I'm limited on options, I'm going to just throw a few chunks of pineapple on top. Hopefully add to the flavor. Like that. I think all those are probably off limits for me. So this will be my dessert, which I'm so excited about. Got the vegan frozen yogurt with the pineapples on top. And I have to say, going through a frozen yogurt shop with toppings that you can select from, and not being able to select the toppings and being limited on the flavors was not very fun. And I really wanted peanut butter cups and for this to be something a little bit different, but I'm not going to complain because it will probably be a pretty good way to end the day. So
He
let's
just
see,
did
let's see what we got.
complain. That's so dishonest.
Definitely got a pretty good pineapple flavor. It's not really distinctly, I don't eat a lot of frozen yogurt, but it's not distinctly different than other frozen yogurt, other than the fact that I would have probably picked a different flavor. And like I said, probably different toppings, but you know, I'm not going to complain after the day that I've had. So frozen yogurt is done. I have to say, I think I made the right call on the pineapple chunks. On top of that, it complemented the vegan frozen yogurt very well. So not bad. Not a bad way to end the day. That's probably one of the only things I would even consider ordering again from the entire day. I can tell that my stomach has been under distress since breakfast because I can't process the food that I'm eating. So I felt like I've kind of had a lot of pain issues going on during pretty much the entire day, which is slightly concerning and not fun for me. So, you know, that's probably the biggest downfall, other than the fact that, you know, some of the consistency stuff really came out today. I haven't noticed that about myself with consistency on food, but today, you know, just textures and different things were not great. But
protein, by the way.
made it through the day. I ate basically my calories that I would normally need to eat, which is good. That was the objective. We got it done. I can honestly say that I will not be signing up for this again, and that of all the things that I've done eating wise, this is definitely up there with my least fun, just due to the stomach distress that these.
Got your pie hole.
Oh, I've eaten a load of shit all day and my stomach's playing me up. Oh, what a surprise, you know.
Yeah,
I had to go back to eating meat because I lived off of fucking Haribo and Pop-Tarts, you know, like.
I bet you all that food is like pulling out all like the stuck deposits of animal in his body, and that's what is causing the pain. Like, that's my opinion.
Yeah, had a lot of processed, you know, the tofu and then all of the seitan, all the processed wheat, you know, and you know, processed food, whether it's vegan or non-vegan, isn't good for you, right? So, you know, that was but these people are so conditioned that it has to taste like meat. So then I go and eat a load of processed shit, and oh, my stomach's playing me up. Oh, I had a bad day. Go figure.
Yeah, it's like the guy didn't even eat like the volume of like 3 entire vegetables probably the entire day, and he's just wolfing down mountains of fat and protein. Like that can't feel good on your stomach. I've gotten full on tofu before, and it's pretty rough.
Yeah, right.
I can eat a lot of tofu, and like if you eat things with it, especially if you're loading up on some vegetables to kind of signal to your stomach that you're starting to get full, you can eat like a normal human being. But this guy's just used to wolfing down just so much protein and fat. It's just insane to watch.
He definitely overate. Like, there's no question.
So yeah, this video popped up. I wanted to play this a couple weeks ago, but it's almost more relevant now that we're talking about like you know, people you know, the doing less harm
sensory
thing.
pleasure is a feeling,
And,
but also the feeling.
Oh, Earthling Ed.
I was pretty surprised by this video. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Other right-wing commentators.
Me and Barb met him.
While those. So in today's video, I want to talk about Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro is actually a little different to many of the other right-wing commentators in the US. Because while those other commentators are often staunchly anti-vegan, Ben has actually expressed far more favorable views towards veganism. In fact, when Ben has been directly questioned around the ethics of what we do to animals and the consumption of meat, he has openly admitted that he's a hypocrite, which is actually really interesting. It's especially interesting because even though Ben has openly admitted he's a hypocrite, he still is not vegan. So what gives? Well, in today's video, I want to try and find out. So we're going to talk about what Ben has to say. We're going to react to a variety of different clips of Ben talking about veganism and animals and different components around this conversation. And we're going to try to explore why Ben still remains such a hypocrite. And I actually think this conversation is really interesting because I strongly believe that one of the reasons why Ben still hasn't made this change relates to a much larger conversation around meat and its supposed cultural importance in places like the US. And not only cultural importance, but very specifically politically cultural importance. So we're going to talk about how red meat has become this weaponized symbol of right-wing politics and what that means for identity politics, and ultimately what that means for right-wing commentators like Ben Shapiro, who are appealing to a conservative audience, and this conservative audience will have very strong beliefs around certain things, one of those things being meat consumption. And so how does that relate to Ben's views around his own personal meat consumption? As you can tell, there's a few very interesting things to discuss here, and I'm really looking forward to diving deeper in this video. However, before we start reacting to clips of Ben, I just want to introduce the partner of today's video, because while Ben's eating habits may reek of hypocrisy, there is no need for his armpits to reek of something else. And that's all thanks to Wild. Now, I use Wild products every single day because they're vegan, cruelty-free, gentle on the skin, and importantly, they work amazingly well. Now, believe me, QR code that's on the screen now. And now, let's see what Ben Shapiro has to say about veganism.
For the past few years, I've heard you repeatedly predict that in 100 years, all of us are going to be looked back upon as barbarians. And I'm quoting you, barbarians, for eating animals, for eating meat.
I said it's a possibility, yeah.
You've predicted it on 3 separate occasions.
I said probably, and I think that's probably true, yeah.
Okay, so you stand by that statement. Okay, great. And yet you've never suggested that you would take any action on this topic. You've never suggested that you are going to go vegan or even vegetarian. I know. And so my question for you is this. How can you make a career off of preaching personal responsibility while failing to take responsibility for your words on this topic?
So one of the contingencies that would make it an absolute brutality in 100 years is that there's actual sources of animal-like protein that are produced without the use of animals. And that is progressing pretty quickly, right? I mean, you're
What?
Is he talking about lab-grown meat?
Lab-grown meat or vegetables?
Yeah, he's with Bill Gates over here.
you're actually seeing animal protein being produced without the killing of animals. I think that's going to make things a lot easier for people. As far as the vegetarian vegan question, it's something that I've actually seriously considered. I haven't talked about it publicly a lot, but it's something that I've actually pretty seriously considered because, I mean, frankly, I do think that there are going, like, I think that on the list of moral evils in American society, I think that this comes in a far
he's glitching up.
Abortion, for example, like the killing of human beings. But if you're going to talk about, but if rightly so, you say, okay, well, make your eating habits adhere to a more moral standard. It's something I'll admit I'm a hypocrite on, and it's something that I've thought about a fair bit. So, Ashley, thank you for urging me to consider my hypocrisy and continuing to move in that direction because I'm thinking about it seriously.
Admit that you're a hypocrite, and then continue to. How can you?
That's what a hypocrite is. I just said I am.
But you're preaching personal responsibility. So what if I said that I was a hypocrite on the pro-life issue? That you say, what if I say, well?
So if they invented a way to do lab-grown animal meat, you think they'd actually eat it? Yeah, right. That would be vilified just like the plant meat is. Even worse. Franken meat?
How attached do you need
Ben
to
Shapiro,
be
you're gonna eat
your
that?
carnist fucking religion to eat lab-grown meat, you know? I mean, what do you think it is? Do you think this is ignorance? Do you think it's ego? Or do you think people are actually scared to stop eating meat because they think they're not going to get the nutrition they need? I mean, or is it, you know,
they're
like
scared to not receive the paycheck they need.
So I know how stupid this sounds, but I think the lab-grown meat would be safer for people because it doesn't have the glandular system. Therefore, it wouldn't have all the hormones. It'd still be a corpse. It'd still be bad for you, but at least it wouldn't be flooded with estrogen.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yes,
for sure. And the hormones that are released in your body when you're depressed, tortured, dying, being killed, you know, all the other stuff that gets released that makes people, who knows how, you know, how that's affecting our society. These people eating those hormones all the time, those mammalian hormones that are more bioavailable than the estrogen, the phytoestrogen in soy that they make fun of us for eating. Turns out salt,
I mean,
like a very high quality protein, even higher than beef, according to the USDA.
Well, Prozac and fluoride will take care of that. Don't worry.
It's funny, they hit on us for phytoestrogen and they literally grow breast from the estrogen they're eating. Fucking what a joke. Bunch of beta male motherfuckers.
This guy trounces him. It's really nice to watch this dude squirm like this.
Nathan, John, our buddy John here, his favorite part about being vegan is that it made his penis bigger, he claims.
I don't know about
I wish I could say the same.
Or John balls. Because he's got big balls. But
I don't know about all that. I've never really measured my balls, bro. Just saying.
He's our only he's our only raw vegan though, so he's a very slim guy, if you know what I mean.
Fair play, man.
But he's got big balls.
I need to go more raw for sure.
You need a graduated beaker with water displacement. Then you'll know the volume. I'm just kidding.
That's a good idea.
I think abortion is wrong, but I'm going to get
right.
Obviously, I can't.
I'd be saying at least you're. What I would say is you're upholding the right moral standard in your talk, and I wish you would do so in your personal life. And you are free to say the same thing to me about my eating habits.
Now, look, first things first, it is great that Ben is openly admitting that he's a hypocrite. That's actually kind of refreshing. What you would normally expect from something like this is someone asks a question about why aren't you vegan, and the person responding gets ultra defensive and becomes quite
hold
nasty.
on. We're going to show Nathan the soundboard.
What soundboard?
Our soundboard. What do you mean?
Oh,
that's the
nice.
Mr. Peanut Butter thing?
Out that you fucked with the wrong one, boy!
Yes.
You're not in your fucking industry propaganda cult. You're in a fucking cult. I'm not in your cult. Fucking losers. Fucking trash apes. There's a song for you. You'll find the fuck out, boy.
Yeah, we got a full panel up here.
That's
Some
awesome.
pretty good sound bites.
That's awesome. Need that.
And kind of plays to the crowd to try and own or debunk the vegan to get a laugh or to get a whoop and a cheer. That's kind of what you'd expect in an environment like this. So it is refreshing that Ben just says, hey, look, yes, I am a hypocrite. However, I think sometimes people fall into the trap where they think that because they're admitting that they're a hypocrite, that somehow makes them less culpable. Because obviously what needs to happen is you need to recognize you're a hypocrite and then act on that. And what's interesting, I suppose, is that for all of us ethical vegans, there was a point most likely where we realized we were a hypocrite and we were temporarily living in a state of hypocrisy because you're eating a certain way. You then realize that the way you're eating is in violation with the ethics that you should have. You feel like a hypocrite and then you take the step. You don't just end it there. You realize that state of hypocrisy and then you act on it. In other words, you become vegan. The problem with Ben is he has never acted on it. He's admitted on a couple of occasions, look, I'm a hypocrite. I've thought about it. Yes, I've considered it. Yes, we're going to look back and say it's barbaric. But then he's never made that step. And I think it's particularly ironic in the case of Ben, because a lot of the values that Ben espouses on his platforms are related to things like personal responsibility, taking ownership for yourself and for your decisions, not relying on others for handouts and for welfare and for support. Basically, you are responsible for yourself, deal with it and act accordingly. That's kind of the personal responsibility line that he speaks about. And yet he's taking no personal responsibility in this moment. He's saying, I'm a hypocrite, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Remember, Ben is the facts over feelings guy. Facts don't care about your feelings. So why isn't he acting on the facts here? Why isn't he acting on the fact that he recognizes he's a hypocrite for objectively truthful reasons, which is there's a lot of violence happening towards animals that he is paying for and that is wrong, and then change accordingly. That's what he should do. That's especially what he should do if he was following the messaging that he puts out there. What's interesting in this clip is not only is he rejecting his own personal responsibility, but he's also making his view around the necessity to stop harming animals conditional. And the condition he's setting out is the condition that we will need something like cell-cultured meat, essentially animal protein, but not from a slaughtered animal. He says that that's one of the contingencies that will need to be in place in order for us to recognize that what we are doing to animals is barbaric. Now, 2 points here. Firstly, that's clearly untrue. We don't need cell-cultured meat to realize that forcing animals into gas chambers is barbaric. We just need a heart and a head, right? That's it. We just need to be intellectually and emotionally honest. And then obviously we can tell that forcing animals into gas chambers, cutting their throats, mutilating them, all of these things is barbaric. we don't need technology and cell cultured meat to reach that conclusion. So that's very illogical what he's saying. And it's interesting that one of the reasons why he says we'll need something like cell cultured meat is to make it easier for people. In other words, he's saying that we kind of need handouts, right? We need support. We need, in essence, a kind of symbolic sort of welfare, something to make it easier for us to make this decision. I find that quite interesting because to me, again, that kind of contradicts a lot of what he says. Oh no, we actually do need something from someone else to make this decision easier for us. Because if it's not easy for us, then we shouldn't accept personal responsibility to act in accordance with what is right. And something else that's interesting here is Ben is essentially virtue signaling around this issue, right? He's been asked a question related to ethics and morals, and he's trying to make himself look like a good person. He's trying to present himself as being someone who cares, you know? He says, yeah, I think about this. I've not necessarily spoken about it, but yeah, I've thought about this. And yes, I'm a hypocrite. Yes, it's barbaric. All of these things, right? So he's trying to present himself as being a good person about this issue. I am a good person about this. I do care. It is wrong. I am a hypocrite. But he's accepting no personal responsibility about it. He's just trying to...
He's basically saying, I have no problem with vegans, but, you know, which is like the ultimate cop out for all these guys. You know, it's like they're trying to convince themselves that they're a good person before they go and trash someone who's obviously doing something more moral than them.
We goys can live, Mr. I support Israel Shapiro. He's an immoral piece of crap, front to back. So I mean, it's only obvious.
Yeah. So another topic, I think sorry
to interrupt you. We actually met Earthling Ed. I forget his last name, but me and Barb met him, and we did activism with him in Philly, and we got to shake his hand. He seemed really cool.
You lucky fuckers. He's like one of my heroes.
Look at John Bob. John Bob is jealous.
You know,
You met Vegan Jesus.
I wish you know, got Earthling Ed and
Actually, Vegan Jesus is Braxton.
I wish they
but
underpinned it with natural law, you know.
The English Vegan Jesus.
What's that, Nathan?
That's hilarious.
You know, Earthling Ed and Joey Carbstrong and people like that have got a really big audience and they're doing a lot of activism and good stuff. I just see them fall apart in arguments, you know, with sort of like intellectual people because there's not the natural law underpinning. There's no objective morality underpinning. If they had that, you know, there'd be so much more weight to it all.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's a good question that I put up here. I wonder if Earthling Ed recognizes that humans aren't free either. We have a lot of criticisms of Ed. He's generating quite a lot of tax revenue for the war for the subsidies that go directly towards the meat and dairy industry. So his you know, there's a way it comes back to agorism. You know, like these guys need to be more agoristic about their careers and take donations in different ways that don't actually just go right towards the government to go drop bombs on people and, you know, fund the factory farms, because they're funding, like they pay for 80% of the people, 80% of the meat that people eat. And, you know, like people always, oh, you're trying to make me go vegan. And it's like, no, once the government gets broke enough, they're not going to subsidize it anymore. And you'll be forced to be vegetarian/vegan. You'll have meat every once in a while to a degree. Yeah. Like, sure, there'll be cheap garbage, but you're not going to be the privileged grass-fed, you know, like pasture-raised garbage, whatever you're talking about, GMO meat that you eat. But yeah, so we wanted to also talk about pet owning as vegans, which is a very touchy subject. At least in our household, it's probably the most unvegan thing we do. But we have a cat. Allie found this cat with a broken leg in a tree. And he's Steve, and he's got a problem where he can only eat raw beef. And so it's kind of a bummer. Well, I mean, for the most part, he really likes vegan cat food. But certain foods make him throw up. He'll just throw it up. We've tried 100 different things with this cat, from raw food to all kinds of stuff. But it's unfortunate that it's something we have to deal with because we have this cat But we saw this video. This guy's very good. This is a very good video. It's a little. I had no idea when I watched it that it was going to be as good as it is. But he goes over kind of, something everyone should just kind of maybe see once. Because pet owning is kind of a gnarly thing. Especially, I didn't realize half the facts this guy went through.
I'm making friends in a new town, and I head over to a buddy's apartment, and I see that they have a cat that looks like Garfield. I go to another friend's place, and they have not one, but 2 cute doggos in their apartment. I go to another friend's house, and they have a cat and dog living harmoniously together, and when they snuggle up with each other, it is so cute. I asked my buddy how he met his girlfriend, and he says he met her on a dating app called Hinge. I download it, and while I'm developing arthritis in my finger from swiping all the time, I noticed something. So many people have a dog or cat. They have cute pictures with them, they mention them in their profile, and it looks like they're an important part of their life. It gets me thinking, how many people have pets? I Google it and find out that according to the American Pet Products Association, 70% of households in the United States own one or more pets in 2020, and we spend $100 billion on pets every year. Why pets? Hi, I'm Yusuf, and I question. Today, I'm exploring pets. What's the origin of pets? What are their positives? What are their not so positives? Is it ethical to own a pet? And I'm going to share my own thoughts too. Strap on in and join the ride with me. The origin of pets. Dogs are the first animals to be domesticated. Fossils point to a relationship between humans and gray wolves around 10 to 3,000 years ago. Some theorize early human hunter-gatherers actively tamed and bred wolves. Others say wolves domesticated themselves by scavenging the carcasses left by human hunters or loitering around campfires, growing tamer with each generation until they became permanent companions. Archaeologist and geneticist Gregor Larson believes that the domestication of wolves into dogs has been a vital source of human development. He even says, remove domestication from the human species, and there's probably a couple million of us on the planet, max. Wolves have been used to help us hunt and to protect our farm animals. In return, we fed them and gave them a warm place to sleep at night. This created a relationship between people and beasts. As time went on, through continuous breeding and artificial selection of more docile traits, somewhere along the way, the wolf species diverged and the modern dog was brought into existence. The origin of cats and humans is a fascinating one. Some of the earliest indications that cats have become part of human society comes from the ancient Egyptians. Cats were represented in social and religious practices of ancient Egypt for more than 3,000 years. Several ancient Egyptian deities were depicted and sculptured with cat-like heads such as Mafdet, Bastet, and Sekhmet, representing justice, fertility, and power. Cats are featured in hieroglyphics, and they were mummified and buried along with their pharaoh lords. Among common folk, cats were kept around farms because of their keen ability to hunt rodents and fend off snakes, allowing humans to keep food for longer periods of time to help in their survival. But unlike dogs, it's debated as to whether cats are even domesticated. Wes Warren, PhD Associate Professor of Genetics at the Genome Institute at Washington University in St. Louis, states, "We don't think they are truly domesticated," says Warren, who prefers to refer to cats as semi-domesticated. Regardless of the domestication, cats are the second most popular pets right after dogs. Modern pet keeping. Dogs and cats were used for utility and seen as working animals. This continued for thousands of years until the Victorian era rolled around. Pet keeping in its present form is probably a 19th century Victorian invention. At this time, it was perceived as a link with the natural world, which itself was no longer seen as threatening. It also allowed a visible demonstration of man's domination over nature. And the practice of pet keeping in Victorian times also reflected other social attitudes of the time. Pet keeping was not considered appropriate for the lower classes, as it was thought to encourage the neglect of other social duties. This is the beginning of the modern pet, where animals go from being a utility to becoming part of the family. And it continues like this to this day. Story time. I've lived with 2 cats in my life. The first was when I was growing up. My sister had a white Turkish Angora cat that we named Cookie. She was beautiful and deaf. Every day when we would have lunch together as a family, the dining room was on the ground floor. And sometimes we would hear Cookie meowing because she was looking for us on the upper floor. One of us kids would have to run over to the stairs and flicker the lights, and Cookie would see the lights flickering and know that we were downstairs. Then she would run all the way downstairs and sit beside us because we always had a little chair for her to sit on. She would sit beside us and chill out and be around us while we were eating. She loved being around us, but the funny thing is she didn't like being pet. In fact, if you pet her too much, she would swat at you. And one funny thing is that she only drank water from the sink. We would have to put the water on the sink at a really low volume and it would be almost dripping, and she would tilt her head and just be like the whole time to drink water. It was so cute. The positives of pets. Animals help humans. Dogs have a natural pack mentality. They guard and protect their owners. They alert them of danger. They'll bark when someone's approaching your house, even when they're far away, because of their superior to human hearing abilities. Pets are a great way to teach children responsibility and love. They have to feed them, walk them, and take care of them, and that teaches them important life lessons and skills. Dogs help humans hunt with their excellent hearing and smell that's better than humans. Although this may have been more important tens of thousands of years ago, closer to modern times, hunting dogs have been used more for sport rather than necessity. Dogs help humans herd livestock. They can command and move large herds of ducks, sheep, or even cows to assist farmers. If you ever seen the movie Babe, you know all about this. Dogs can be assistance animals that help the elderly or disabled. But according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Development, they are not pets. Police dogs aren't seen as pets either, but they help people in many ways, like sniffing out drugs, bomb detection, finding people in search and rescue operations, and assisting in apprehension of criminals. But one could argue that we're putting the life of the dog on the line instead of a human's. Animals are wonderful companions. Humans are social. We desire to be around others, and pets can help fill the role of companionship with an added bonus of them making you feel good in a number of ways. An extensive number of studies in a wide range of journals and disciplines support that interactions with pets contribute to good health and quality of life and healing from serious illness and conditions. Pets can influence our emotional state, our sense of security and acceptance, and even our positive outlook on life. Dogs and cats can sense when you're feeling down, and they can give you little hugs and snuggles to make you feel better. That can cheer you up. Pets can be emotional support animals. An emotional support animal is an animal that can provide emotional and therapeutic benefit to those suffering with emotional issues, anxiety, or psychiatric problems. Dogs can help you stay physically fit. They need daily walks to stay healthy, and that means you got to go out there and run with them, so that's going to help keep you fit and healthy. Story time. When I moved in with the previous partner, she had a gray striped cat named Fiona. The best way I can describe her is that she's the most docile cat you can ever think of. She was so chill and never knocked anything off of a table, not even one time.
Christian's
She would
in the
go crazy
house.
for the laser pointer when you would play with her with it. She would just like dart all around the apartment and just have so much fun. Sometimes even jumping up on the wall to get it. Like, it's crazy. Every time we'd come home, she would lay on the floor, stretch out her body, and roll around while purring profusely. It was super cute, and it made me feel like she was saying, "Hi, welcome home." She wasn't a big fan of being pet, and I completely respected that, but my ex-girlfriend loved petting her. That's why I think Fiona would always come and sit beside me when I was on the computer, or would lay on me while I was playing video games, or even when I'm playing guitar. She would just love to come and lay on me. That would make her jelly. But it was cute. The not so positives of pet and animal ownership. Animal obsession. There's people out there that love their animals a little too much. They need them by their side at all times. At home, they have free reign to do whatever they want. Sleep on the couch, sleep on the bed, sleep anywhere they want. Whenever the owner goes out, they want to take their pet with them. It's more socially acceptable to take your dog out with you, but anecdotally speaking, I've been seeing a lot of people taking their cats out on leashes nowadays. Speaking of leashes, are those ethical? I'll get into that in the next section of the video. This obsession can get in the way of human relationships. Dogs can become an impediment to and a substitution for intimacy, and frequently incite jealousy among couples, since it's often easier to express unambivalent love for a dog rather than a human. All the affection that the person is not giving to you, the dog is giving. That becomes, in a way, the more intense emotional relationship. That's bad, and it's very easy for that to happen. Animal hoarding is a real thing. We throw around the term crazy cat lady, but in real life, there are people who hoard animals. There are people who compulsively need to collect and own animals for the sake of caring for them that results in accidental or unintentional neglect or abuse. And at least 250,000 animals are affected each year. 80% of animal hoarders have diseased, dying, or dead animals on the premises. Animal unpredictability. For as much as we want to believe that our little Fido is the sweetest puppy in the world, when you take your doggo outside, it's actually illegal to walk your dog without a leash on in most states. Not having your dog on a leash can have real dangers, including dogs are able to get into physical confrontations and hurt each other. Dogs are able to approach people and potentially hurt them, even if by jumping on them. Dogs can harm or kill wildlife in the area. Dogs are able to run into the road and cause injury to themselves and other people. Destruction of property is more common. Dogs are more likely to dig in private or public spaces or spread trash around and chew property. There are wild animal instincts in our puppers that we have to control by keeping them on a leash. One thing to keep in mind is that if they do any property damage or hurt anyone, the owner is legally liable for it, whether that's paying medical bills or even being legally sued for any harm your doggo does. Cats can be unpredictable in the wild too. It's more socially acceptable to allow your cat to go outdoors compared to dogs. The Central California SPCA warns of the dangers of letting your cat go outside, such as they attack or are attacked by other animals. They can hunt birds and other small animals that threaten wildlife. They have turf wars with cats. They mate with other cats. They can catch diseases or ticks. Accidents can happen to them, most commonly being run over by a vehicle.
Nathan, you live in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Don't they have laws where like you can't own a single animal or something like that?
I don't pay attention to many of the laws, mate. I wouldn't know, in all honesty. I don't actually have any pets myself. I have had pets. I can comment on this. But I'm not sure about the laws.
Yeah.
I don't really pay much attention
Nice.
to any of the laws, mate, to be
Nice to
honest,
hear.
'cause I know fucking right from wrong. So that's all I worry about. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with companion animals, you know, but you have to be honest with yourself, and you know whether you're doing it for selfish reasons or not. You know, there's some good points that bloke brought up, and you know, I think you guys have tried feeding your obligate omnivore vegan food, but you know, if they like it and they eat it, great. If they don't, well, you know, they're obligate freaking omnivores, right? So whereas humans are more frugivore herbivores, so it's a different argument. But yeah, I think like with the animals that help find people, if they people that lost in avalanches and all that kind of stuff. But police dogs, that's not cool, man. That's fucking not cool, because obviously police and authority isn't cool, full stop. So yeah, I think you need to be honest with yourself.
Animal abuse within the police force is really huge in the USA. Like, it's really bad. They treat those dogs like crap the whole time too.
Yeah, as long
Not to mention that they like shooting the dog. I'm sorry, Lathan.
No, you carry on, man. You carry on.
Not to mention that they just relish. And my friend just got his dog shot. He took it to they had the wrong house. They ran in, shot like 7 bullets, killed his dog, and every single lawyer that he called, or barrister, I guess in your in the UK, every single one asked, "Well, did anybody else die? Like, did anybody get killed?" And they meant humans. Did anybody? And every single one that he called asked that, and he said, "No, it was just my dog." And they pretty much just hung up on him right away, because there's no money in it and nobody's going to take the case, even though they had the wrong house and they murdered his dog.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard clips of police, relishing the thought of shooting people's pets. Man, they're just fucking scum, hell slaves. Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed pets.
Cops
shouldn't
weren't
exist.
shooting as many. Oops, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Cops weren't shooting as many dogs as they used to. It was when it was like 2013, I think. They sent all the police chiefs from the USA to get trained in Israel, and then they came back and they retrained all the academies and told them just to shoot dogs on sight, whether or not they're being aggressive or not. And there was a lot of like cops shooting dogs that were in cages, just like completely psychopathic behavior. And it's
And
really,
what better?
really bad.
Yeah, and what better way to tear apart a community than have people that are supposed to be, tasked with protecting people? Like, what would you do? Like, what would you think if, like, I can't even be in that position. Like, I love all animals. If I had a dog that I was taking care of, and then a policeman shot it, I'd be completely devastated. I don't know what I'd do, honestly. And for that reason,
a cop shot Steve, our cat. Oh my God! Like, I don't even.
No, it's like they're shooting and they're murdering a member of your family. Yet the legal system doesn't look at it as anything more than, destruction of property.
Loss,
yeah, really.
They'll be like, sue him, sue him, and it's like, you might win a couple $1,000s in court.
But I think it's Abrahamic Talmudic spellcraft to do that, to like force people to do that to their communities. Or it's like, you do this now, and it'll totally make you completely, estranged from the community. You'll be looked at as the enemy of the community.
That's a good point. And I was gonna say this too, just real quick. if the tables were turned and somebody was like being pursued by like a canine unit and there was a cop that was trying to attack somebody who was fleeing, you know, if that dog was harmed or killed, wouldn't they be treated like the same as if they're like a police officer that was being harmed?
They consider it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that there's this like double standard going on there.
No, you go down for murder one. They'll take you down for murder
like
one.
murder of a police officer.
Yeah.
They consider that the same as killing a human. Isn't that fucking nuts? But if they do it to ours, it's no big deal. It's just a piece of property.
I mean, it's the whole basis of the movie Half Baked. Butter nuts. Butter stuff.
What up, pigs in the house? Pigs in the house.
Well, it's the violation of natural law, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's a taking of a life. It's a theft. Whether you're a policeman or you're a regular person, it doesn't matter. It's still wrong. So, you know, if that happened, you'd be in your right to defend that being. If you've got a psychopath, right? You've got a psychopath with a gun shooting living beings. You take the psychopath out. That's, you know, as far as I'm concerned. If I had a gun and a psychopath came in my house and was shooting animals or people, you'd shoot the psychopath.
You know where Larkin Rose took this argument with me on Facebook? He said, okay, say you had a gun and say I had a mosquito on me and I was at 100 yards. He says he has his mosquito on him at 100 yards. And he says, and I was about to swat this mosquito and kill it. Would you shoot me? That's literally where he took that argument. And then I was like, murder is wrong. Your intention is murder. I would shoot you. And he's like, you're a complete psychopath. And I was like, all right, man, but at least I'm morally principled.
I mean, there is a hierarchy, right? You know, humans, animals, insects, plants, right? And, you know, I do squash mosquitoes. I'll be honest. If a mosquito's on me, and I know the meme about you only know when you can not use violence when the mosquitoes is on your testicle, right? So you're not going to hit the mosquito while it's sucking the blood from your nuts. But I do, and you know, I should do it less. But, you know, they are thieves and they are stealing your blood, right? Whilst they're on you. You know, I certainly wouldn't be trying to shoot Larkin if he was killing a mosquito.
I gotta stand by it,
man. Yeah,
I gotta stand by. I can't let go of that. I can't. And I actually saw Larkin in this area. I saw him, and I had a philosophical discussion with him about what was it? Like the Milgram experiment and the Zimbardo experiment, the prison experiments. Because he was doing he was doing a screening of his film. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
you know, and there is a difference between you know a dog or a cat, a mammal than an insect. And you know, if Larkin was about to shoot a dog, then I think the weight has a lot more. There's a lot more weight to the argument there.
Either way, you're still going to jail. It's just the question is morally. You know, if a person has the objective to just murder something that, you know, isn't necessarily, I mean, it's not like threatening your life, you know, you just want to kill it. That's wrong. It's always going to be wrong. You know, like I might go to jail, but I just know that, you know, that I'm right. So fuck it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter to me, you know, at that point.
So, quick question.
I wouldn't kill him for, you know, doing it. I would stop him from committing the act. You know what I mean?
I think the argument he would have is that he was acting in self-defense because the mosquito is about to bite him or steal his blood.
But it's not going to kill. It's not threatening his life. You know what I mean? That's the conundrum, and like they will take it there. You got to be ready for that argument. What you're going to say in that's on you. But I mean, he was ready with that one, and I was ready with mine.
It's very left-brained, like, and and there's no heart there at the end of the day. It's a black heart, man. In my freedom, that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Word on the street is Larkin Rose is a beta male with a set of breasts.
John Balls has spoken.
Calling out the beta males.
Telling it how it is.
I mean, seriously, why the fuck do these motherfuckers have breasts and they're like literally leaders? You know what I mean? What kind of leader, like encourages people to grow breasts when they're men? Like what the fuck? It's weird, man. So weird. Oh, but the animal thing, I think it's weird that we have so many, especially with the vegan community growing. I think we really need to grow as the vegan community. We need to recognize pets aren't going anywhere. People love animals, and that's okay.
We gotta grow some balls, John Balls.
People think they love animals, but they eat them. So those people don't actually love animals, right?
No, they're just pieces of shit. You're absolutely right. But vegans, I think we need to evolve with what we have for pets or animals. Like we should either have omnivores that are fed because they can eat both ways, plants or animals, feed them plants, or we should have herbivores. We shouldn't be we should really break that cycle of having carnivores like cats, especially when they're becoming such invasive species that are destroying the environment, causing extinction. It's really time for us to grow up as a culture and say, I don't want to contribute to this. At least that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at that video as well, and look, all of these dogs, these very domesticated, they're nothing like wolves, and that's where they came from, right? So, but they exist. These animals do exist. It's like the gun argument. Well, we'll just get rid of all the guns. Well, you can't, can you? Because they exist. There's the technology. So these animals do exist. So if we have them as companion animals, and we're kind to them, and we're not selfish, and it's no real problem, is it?
Yeah, I got no problem with that. People should be able to have love and friendships and relationships. People shouldn't have any say about that. And I really feel like the vegan community dives into that too much and attacks people for literally spreading love and companionship. But I do think that things are pretty irresponsible at this point, and that they're breeding large amounts of carnivorous animals that are destroying the environment. Like cats are a real problem if you ever looked into it. In the Philippines, the dogs, it is so fucking amazing because they always have like an extra lane on the highway, and the dogs will be laying on the shoulder, sunbathing on the nice warm tar. And like these dogs, none of them have leashes or collars. They just go out, they lay around, and they have so much freedom. It's like they're members of the family there, and they can run and play, and it's so different than here where everything's a leash and we walk around with little plastic bags for poop, and like we are really trained, as opposed to over there they're just more free. Like it was really cool seeing what kind of level of freedom dogs have there compared to here.
Yeah, I lived in Central America for a little bit, and there were roving bands of dogs that would run through town, and they'd run into the restaurants and steal all the food and run away. It was pretty crazy. They all looked like, it was weird. All the dogs down there looked like mini lassies, but they're like not like those dogs here are like taken really well care of, and they're like show dogs and stuff. But down there, for some reason, all the dogs look like these weird dogs. But yeah, anyway, it's easy as far as Larkin Rose goes, it's easy to just sit down there and outwardly point at government and blame government and just stay there in this safe pocket and just like that's what we're having the problem. Like all these dudes we're dealing with, John Bob, they're all just stuck. Oh, I know everything because I'm blaming the government for all the problems I have in my life. The Padini So it's not, you know, that's the big problem, really. You know.
Yeah, again, and it's going all the way with morality. You know, as the morality
No one wants
increases,
to
so do
talk
the
about it.
freedoms, right? Yeah, but they need to understand this, man. It is what it is. These laws are, and if you want freedom, then you've got to go all the way with morality, and full stop. The end.
Whenever I start talking to people about morality, they just turn into moral relativists immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, none of that matters. There's no evidence for any of that, and it's just like, yeah, there is, bro. You wanna talk about it? And they're like, nope.
No, because they're in a religion.
Yeah.
It's ritual, spellcraft. It's ritual murder. You're a part of it. You did it. And you're a part of it.
Going back to the pets, but like, and I mentioned guns, right? It's always the consciousness of the owner that's the problem, and you can mistreat your animals, and some people get their animals to fight, and things like that. It's the same with children, and how people with low consciousness aren't raising their children properly, and again, it all comes back round to morality. Always will.
Yeah, because it's like the whole idea of stewardship, because we're, kids and animals both are being raised. They're an extension of our property in a sense until, with kids, they reach the age of maturity where they've learned the lessons they need. If you did a good job, then they're upright, like citizens, as loosely as I'd use that word, but they have the right kind of background. They're standing on the right principles, and so they become upright adults. Whereas animals, it's a little different because they can't quite reach that capacity. They reach the point that they're going to, and we can't really dictate what they do morally. They're animals. So
Yeah,
like,
but if you observe dogs, though, certainly domesticated ones that are kept indoors, they typically, if they're treated well, they kind of act alongside natural law. But they are animals, they are beasts, and they can flip. And then there's the situation like you're saying about in the Philippines, all of the packs of dogs and stuff. They can turn feral and they can get hungry, and they can roam in pets around in groups rather. And I had a close call with a pack of feral dogs once when I was on holiday out on a nice beach with a young lady at night time, and along came a pack of feral dogs, and they were being quite aggressive. I had to get changed quickly and asked the lady to go off in front whilst I tried to freaking make sure that we weren't mauled by pack of feral dogs. But this is, again, we've got to take personal responsibility. I got myself in that situation. It could have been a gang of machete wielding people.
That's a symptom of societal and government dysfunction. To have all this and not living in harmony with the animals, and it's tradition and all this stuff. But I mean, the spirit of like the cat, the canine spirit, like I feel it, in its natural habitat, it could teach us greater wisdom than we could imagine. But no, we got to keep them indoors in our spot. It's just terrible. I don't think I could own a dog like that or a cat.
I got a story of two new age idiots we met this summer.
Oh yeah.
So, a friend of ours had, without doxing us too much, Braxton knows this story. A friend of ours brought some friends of his around, and our friend is not really, he's an anarchist, but he's more of like a lib anarchist. And he brought some friends around who were kind of young, hippie, like cosplayers, like cosplaying the hippie thing. They have money, but like a nice little RV. They're doing the RV life, and they have this baby girl orange cat, which is really rare to find a girl orange cat. And her name was Luna, right? No. Nova? No.
Like orange, like Garfield.
Like Steve, like our cat. You've seen Steve.
Okay.
Beautiful little baby girl, and we have our cat Steve, and we keep him inside, and because he's got his diet problem. If he eats anything, he throws his guts up, and he needs to be inside. And we live in an RV.
We were traveling.
Yeah, and we were out in the desert, and they just let this baby girl do whatever she wants. And they're like, oh yeah, it's they're like, oh yeah, we're what did they call? I
forget the term.
Yeah. Anyway, a bunch of new age bullshit. They're like, oh no, we just let her free roam. We don't want to do anything to affect how she lives in any way, or we don't want to do anything. We let her kill as many animals as possible in the area. We don't keep her in a cage ever. We don't put a.
This is while they're living nomadically and moving place to place. So it's we're not talking about a cat
house
living in one place and getting to know an area and slowly expanding the boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. It was, different type of situation, basically.
So, and me and Allie are like cringing because there's coyotes, there's bobcats, there's foxes, all kinds of.
You're in the middle
of the desert,
Birds of prey
in the Southwest, like in the middle of nowhere. And we go for hikes, and they just let the cat hang out at our camp outside. And me and Allie, went to our friend, and we're like, dude. And he's all, oh yeah, well they have a real special bond with that cat. And we're just like, are you insane? And these are all vegans I'm talking about here. So me and Allie are horrified because they're doing the complete opposite of what we're doing in order to keep our cat happy and healthy the longest it could be,
and to protect the environment around us from our cat. During that time, like we would go on a hike and come back, and there's like at least 3 mice, around the camp, which it's what cats do. It's not the cat, not the cat's fault, but. Yeah. Again, we're staying in this area for a long period of time, so we're concerned with not leaving.
We don't want to be like that with the local environment.
Yeah, we don't want to impact the local environment, so that was a bummer. Right?
Yeah,
like it was just okay.
Yeah, and let's talk about toxoplasmosis. When cats eat mice that are in the wild, they get a parasite in them that gets in humans that does lots of bad stuff to us. So it's just immoral for so many reasons to let a baby cat just roam free like that.
How did the humans get that disease?
Parting ways. 2 weeks later, we hear she got run over by a car and is dead.
The humans get that disease by being around their shit.
Oh, so it's disease to the mouth or something, is it? Like touch your eye or something?
Yeah, cat scratch fever. It's from
poor cat.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And these are all signs that we're not supposed to be this close to these animals, There's
a lot of
sure they can live around us, but we shouldn't be, living on top of them. And
well, then we talk about, okay, where does toxoplasma come from? It comes from areas where there's high concentrations, high population of mice and or rats. I think it's both. And then what causes that? It's from humans creating these artificial environments in cities, which lead to these conditions, et cetera, et cetera. So again, it's like if you look at the origins of these problems, and it all kind of comes back to poor human action.
Yeah,
I guess you can call it
human consequences on the environment.
Yeah. Human consequences.
Basically.
Yeah. I mean, the cats are, they're not morally culpable because they don't have the neocortex that what humans do. So if they're out, they're doing what cats do. They're hunters.
Yeah,
they'll hunt mice and birds and stuff like that.
Our cat has no control over what he does.
That wouldn't be your fault. But you've got a different type of cat because your cat's got some health issues, right? So you're gonna care a bit more than a healthy cat that you might be a little bit more liberal with.
Well, they're Your cat's a rescue. Their cat was obviously like they bought it from someone, or like they, you know,
They said
there's
they
plenty
found
of
it on the
cats.
road, and that's why they didn't want to change its environment.
Since they found it on
Since
the
they
street.
found it on the street, they didn't want to take it out of. That's literally what this new age dipshit said to us. He said he was at peace with her dying and was totally okay with it because he stewarded. What word did he use, Braxton?
Oh my God!
It was some Hawaiian word for like.
Yeah, I can't quite
Apono,
Yeah,
Apono?
but like you're supposed to. You're not.
Apono, Apono.
If you're dealing with a baby, you
Oh
don't
my
leave a
God.
baby in the fucking street. You know, like common sense, no matter what religion you're in, dipshit. But it's this new age shit, you know? It's like,
Well,
not
it's happening
good.
with
That was like an example of new age, a good test, litmus test for if new age bullshit works. Let a cat do
What's
whatever it wants.
Well, it's the same thing with the children. Same thing with the children. So many people don't, instill values and principles in their children. Let them like do whatever, and then they get into massive trouble all the time. And it's happening all over the place. It's awful.
Well, I see that morals like grow as you get older. Like we've been taught so wrong from birth that even if these guys were dipshits, they probably haven't figured it out yet. They were young, you guys said, right?
But humans are completely programmable, right? So I think the earlier you teach humans morals, true
Yeah, they were younger
objective
than Allie.
morality. Like my son knew right from wrong by like 5 years old, maybe younger, because I hammered in that the formative years where you format your operating system, if you like, to relate it to a computer. So when we teach kids sticks, that old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Right? That's natural law. If you explain it a little bit clearer to kids, but don't threaten anybody or don't lie. Basically, don't steal, don't harm. That's what it means. Kids can understand that at a very, very young age, and then that's their formative process done. You teach kids natural law at a young age. You've pretty much done half of your freaking job as an adult, but this is the problem. It's not being done at all on any level, any tangible level. There's no real moral education going on, and that is the problem, man.
Yeah, and don't accept, no harm to others, but when people are trying to violate your rights or
Use
something
force,
that you're just doing, being peaceful, then you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, say no with teeth. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
With canines.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan, is it getting late there?
It's 11 o'clock. Not too bad.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
I'm okay, mate. Yeah, I'm all right.
All right. All right. We'll watch a little bit more of this video. It gets a little bit better.
Vehicle. No matter how much we think we have our pets in control, they have wild instincts in them that can cause harm to others or themselves. The destructiveness of humans. Sadly, there are certain breeds of dogs who have been systematically bred by humans for the specific purpose of violence. One of the most popular of these breeds is the pit bull type dogs, including American Pit Bull Terriers, American Staffordshire Terriers, and pit mixes. They typically have all the same characteristics of other dogs, including love, companionship, and protection, but it's amplified. The American Pit Bull Terrier has been selectively bred for hundreds of years to fight other dogs. Even in dogs that are not recently bred from fighting lions, the urge to rumble can arise at any time. Not to strongly emphasize this fact is to be negligent. It's not the fault of these breeds that they're like this. The blame is on people, but most people downplay or are negligent of their capabilities, which leads to unfortunate accidents. A phrase that I've personally heard is, "Not my pit bull." It takes an
That guy's. I think he's
So
wrong.
I have a little bit of a. So this is why the animal thing is kind of like, it gets. So I had back in the day, I had a red-nosed pit bull, very well-mannered dog, and I was doing activism with a guy named Adam Kokesh, who had a Rhodesian Ridgeback that was a very well-mannered dog. And as time went by, the personality of the owner of the other dog kind of went from like normal to not very good, and the person started acting out towards everyone else in the house, and then that dog started acting out, and then the dogs got in a fight one day when I was there alone, and I was in the middle of it trying to stop these 200-pound 120-pound monsters from completely tearing each other to shreds. And then like 2 weeks later it happened again, and it was me and my kid that was there alone, and then the owner of the other dog kept denying that it was his dog starting the fight, and it was his dog starting the fight, because his dog was acting like his owner during that time, and he was being aggressive towards everyone in the house. So the dog became aggressive with his buddy. These dogs were best friends for months and months and months. And then we were out in the desert, and it happened again in front of everyone in the house, including the owner. And we wrestled these dogs, and I got bit by this guy's dog in my arm. And dogs are fucking gnarly, man. I'm a little freaked out by them, by big males. I'll never have a big male dog again for sure. I don't know if we'll get another cat. We really like cats, but I'm not sure we'll get another cat, another obligate if they really, if they really need it. If you really believe in that, like, because dogs, you can rescue a dog and feed it vegan dog food, and it'll be super healthy. But yeah, the big dog things, as in the past, I've always frowned when I've heard, anti-pit bull propaganda, or not like anti-pit bull propaganda, but just this kind of stuff. Like, it is pretty gnarly, having a big dog like that. It is a huge liability for whatever personal satisfaction you're getting from owning this big, beautiful dog in a city, like, where you don't actually have a use for it. It's just a lot of people. It's just like dudes buying big ass trucks and driving big ass trucks all over the place when they don't need a truck. You're using a vehicle that eats the most amount of fuel, causes the most amount of whatever to happen, consumes the most, makes the most revenue generation for the state. But they never even use the bed of their truck. It's just this dumb mentality that we've been brainwashed with, by marketers and shit like that. But I don't know. I'll get back to this video. I don't know if anyone has anything to comment on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still think, look, if you relate it to children, 99% of it's going to be the parents' fault of how they've raised that child. You're going to get the 1% that's going to be a psychopathic child, right? And there's nothing you can do about that. But 99% of it's going to be the children, and then when they grow up as adults, it's down to them to sort their shit out. And it's going to be very similar to dogs. I'd say maybe 90% is down to the owners. You're going to get some dogs which are more aggressive than others because of the breeding, like the pit bulls or the Rottweilers or the Rhodesian redbacks and stuff like that. But and we have to bear in mind that they are animals, and they could turn at some point, but it's still 90% of it's going to be how they've been raised. And yeah, I wouldn't have liked to have been you in that situation with those two beasts fighting either. Did no one got hurt? Your kid's okay, right?
Yeah. I mean, but it's like, especially here in the States, you have so many irresponsible people that are just like, oh, I want a dog, and then they just like take it to the pound or let it go or something, and then you have, you don't have these, with those kinds of bigger dogs, you have to have like a from birth connection from them and all that stuff, and it's just a mess. But yeah,
some of those. Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, I think it's the not the pit bull. There's a dog known as the nanny dog, and it is kind of like a quite a scary, strong. But they're known because they really sort of look after children, But you shouldn't leave dangerous animals with kids or anything like that.
No.
And there has been cases, but it's largely the consciousness of the owner, man.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
what freaked me out the most with my dog. He was really cool, and we had a very good bond. It wasn't since birth, but once he got going, the look on his face changed, and I couldn't stop him. And me and 3 dudes couldn't stop him, and he was only like 80 pounds. And it's like if you live out in the sticks, and there's crackheads that live in this county, you want a big snarly pit bull, to run around in your field and shit. And that's like a useful, it's the same thing as the analogy about having a monster truck in the city. It's just like the wrong tool for the wrong application.
But your dog was under attack, right? So it was acting in self-defense, and it brought the psychopath out, and it's easier to do when it's a beast. So it was defending itself at the end of the day.
Oh, then the owner that
It goes back to like people using animals as tools, though, right? Because like, why does a pit bull exist? Because humans wanted to breed a dog that for their own purpose, for their own entertainment, for getting money, whatever. So again, the origin of the problem, it's human origins again, like, and it's the problems of exploitation. Like even we talk about cats, let's say, being used as a resource for killing mice, but then again, like Jeffrey brought up, like toxoplasma, like there are consequences for exploiting animals and using them as tools. Even using dogs protecting from your property, sure, there's cases where you have rescue dogs, whatever, they serve that purpose, but to continue to promote and use animals as objects, there's always going to be consequences. It's always, it's not in alignment with natural law, because dogs aren't trucks,
the mental health of the animals goes south, the more it's not in its natural environment, and then the more we try and mold them, like you see it all the time of dogs turning on their owners when they get old. Almost every pit bull owner is like, oh, someday I'm gonna have to take this dog out, like, it's crazy American talk, but you hear stuff like that.
It was Staffordshire Bull Terriers that are known as the nanny dog. I just came to mind.
Staffies are cool.
Yeah.
They're big out there in the UK, I think.
All right, guys, I'm gonna dip out. Everybody have a good night. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Sound, mate.
Good night, bro.
Incredibly loving, understanding, and responsible person to care for this type of breed and others who have been bred for hurt. But too many people buy them specifically because of their association with violence and continue to raise them with those traits that will continue down their bloodline. When you own a breed like this, it can cause apprehension and anxiety from friends and family, no matter how well you have trained the dog. Animal shelters. For every home with a happy pet, there are millions of animals out there in animal shelters. Approximately 6.3 million companion animals enter U.S. animal shelters nationwide every year. 3.1 million are dogs and 3.2 million are cats. The main reasons animals are in shelters is that owners give them up or animal control finds them on the street. What happens when these beautiful animals aren't adopted? Providing the food and shelter needed for so many animals costs too much money. So sadly, approximately 920,000 shelter animals are euthanized every year. Environment. It may not be the first thing that you think of when you're snuggling a kitten in your palm, but pets impact the environment. Meat eating by dogs and cats creates the equivalent of about 64 million tons of carbon dioxide a year, which has about the same climate impact as a year's worth of driving from 13.6 million cars. Cats and dogs are responsible for 25 to 30% of the environmental impact of meat consumption in the United States. Having pets, unfortunately, affects the environment. Puppy mills. Have you ever asked yourself, where do the puppies that are sold at pet stores come from? The answer is puppy mills, an inhumane, high-volume dog breeding facility that churns out puppies for profit, ignoring the needs of the pups and their mothers. 4.3 million puppies are born in mills every year, where a mother dog's entire life is continuous breeding, and when she can't breed anymore, she's killed. These dogs are kept in cages. Only half of the puppies born in these mills survive past 12 weeks, and excluding breeding animals, as many as 2 million dogs die in puppy mills every year. They euthanize them by drowning, shooting, or gassing them with improvised gas chambers. It isn't just puppies. There are kitten mills, rabbit mills, bird mills, and more. The pet stores that sell these animals have to meet the demand of society, but it's sad to think that so many of them die or are disposed of in the process. Are pets ethical? Is it fair to say that the byproduct of human want is millions of animals locked up in shelters and the hundreds of thousands thousands of animals euthanized every year. Is the animal industrial complex to blame? Are people to blame? Have we considered that animals don't have the ability to get a say in whether they want to be a pet or not? We can't ask them if they're happy, sad, want to live in an apartment, a house, or in the wild. Humans.
Yeah, and like Allie's got this parrot named Paco who's cool as shit. But you buy one of those birds, they live 100 years. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of stuff.
My parrot is 22 years old. He's still going. Old Paco.
Yeah. And it's like, it just over the decades, man, it's a lot of craziness.
A lot of time of an animal.
Devin reclaimed in the house.
Yo, what's
a lot of
up?
time of an animal being sitting in a
What's
cage
up?
all for
Yeah.
like a lot of years.
I can't believe Paco doesn't go crazy, you know? I mean, he kind of does. He kind of, he acts pretty crazy, but like, that's most birds, you know?
Yeah, but it's good y'all take care of them. I mean, all those birds.
And, you know, like
that
Allie
don't-
got that when she was a little girl. She's just like, woo, I want a bird, you know? And she didn't think, oh, am I going to want to take care of this bird for 40 years and have this trapped bird? You know, and she was already kind of an animal rights activist when she was young. So I think she understood, but.
Not to say like Paco, he's had a relative to most pet birds, he's had a great life and has been a member of the family. But even still, like, especially with a parrot, that is not a domesticated animal. It's like they exist as they are in nature in the wild. So they're not, there's no selective breeding. There's nothing that makes them inherently, you know, makes it easier
Tame
for
or
them to
anything.
live with us or to live with humans.
Very emotional.
They're
Holy
very
crap.
emotional. They're like 4-year-olds. I mean, is intellectually as well as emotionally. They've done studies on them. So it's a real serious responsibility taking on a being like that into your life and taking responsibility for it. And most people out there don't understand the gravity of a situation, just like most people don't understand what they're doing when they're putting meat in their mouth. You know, they don't understand the life that's being taken. They don't understand it's like having a little kid in a cage for years, like literally. You know, wouldn't you say? I mean, being around Paco and being around my bird.
Very smart being. Like that little bird. Birds are, I mean, cats are weird and funny, but birds are like really weird and funny. But they're very smart. And even like we got crows around here. They look me right there. We leave out water and stuff for them, and they'll look me right in the face, and it's so funny. Like, it's weird. And you see all the videos of them like trading stuff, and you know, they're squirrels around you. Smart too.
You said the small video. I think it was a short, and it's like dude talking about how it's illegal. Like they made it illegal to own a crow everywhere, and that like even the zoo who has a crow, they're breaking the law because they're just so smart, and you could train them to like steal shit.
But dolphins are allowed to be in zoos, though. Oh, your bird Paco. I'm just wondering how many of Mark's soundboard quotes does he know?
What's that?
I'm just joking. I just said your bird Paco. How many
Paco
Mark's soundboards?
Oh, Mark
does he
Passio
know?
quotes. That'd be pretty funny.
Perfect natural
So
soundboard.
like trash ape. That would be
Government is slavery. Government is slavery.
Yeah.
You're gonna find out that you fucked with the wrong one, boy. We're not in your fucking meat industry propaganda cult.
Just
I'd love to hear his impression.
Mark waking us up.
Fucking trash apes.
Yes.
Anthropomorphize animals, projecting our human emotions and feelings onto them. One example of this is when people think dogs are smiling. It's very possible that we
Trash apes, that
misinterpret
would
what
be
we
the
see on
one,
dogs'
totally.
faces. In fact, there's very little objective research to support the idea that dogs smile. This particular expression, called relaxed open mouth in dogs, typically occurs in positive settings, like when dogs are inviting one another to play. But whether it's really what we would call a smile or whether dogs are directing it at us intentionally to communicate something remains unknown. How can we start having a conversation about whether animals are happy or not in their pet conditions when we we don't even know if they're smiling or not. Personally speaking, I have criticisms when it comes to control, and there's a lot of control when it comes to pets. Control over when they eat, what they can do, where they can go. We even control their movement when they're outside. Most states make it illegal to have your dog outside without a leash. Can we consider a leash a type of movement prison? It's for the animal's safety and the safety of other people, but at the cost of an animal's freedom. To be fair, when you take them to a dog park, you can take them off the leash so they can run around in a fenced environment. Speaking of, we typically keep pets in enclosed environments. I know this is a hot take, but consider the definition of a prisoner: a person deprived of liberty and kept under involuntary restraint, confinement, or custody. The similarity is striking if you replace the word human with animal. We deprive them of their liberty by keeping them in our homes and on a leash when outside. One could argue it's involuntary because we can't ask consent from the animal, and we confine them in spaces. An extreme case of this is when owners lock their dogs up in a cage when they leave their homes. Hot take number 2. Take a moment to consider the definition of a slave: a person who is the legal property of another and is forced to obey them. The similarity is striking if you replace the word person with animal. Did you know that according to current United States law, animals are classified as property? But I do want to point out that most pro-animal rights activist organizations don't like this classification. And animals are forced to obey their humans. We give pets commands. One of the most popular ones, which I personally have always found strange and demeaning, is when we tell them to sit or roll over. Dogs are trained to obey their masters. And while some cats can be trained, they pretty much have a mind of their own. By the way, did you know that cats only meow to humans and not to other cats? Cats meow to greet humans, get attention, and ask for food. And unlike dogs who know and answer to their name, cats don't recognize their names. Cats learn to tell the difference between different sounds, but there's no evidence to show that they have a concept of their name in the way that humans do. Basically, cats do their own thing. Dogs, cats, and birds are the most common types of pets in the United States. But who decides what counts as a pet and what doesn't? It's social taboo in the United States to eat cats and dogs, but in countries like China and Switzerland, it's socially acceptable. It is an old tradition in Switzerland to eat dog meat like sausages and use dog fat for rheumatism. People eat cats because they taste like rabbits. Did you know it is illegal to sell dog or cat meat in the United States, but 44 states allow its personal consumption? Why do we say no to eating dogs or cats, but yes to certain birds like chickens and pigeons, or even cows or pigs? But why we eat animals is beyond the discussion of this video, which is focused on pets. I think that we choose certain animals to be pets because of how cute they look. Have you ever noticed most animals we keep as pets are smaller than us? Could this be one of the characteristics of a pet and why we choose dogs, cats, and birds rather than bears, giraffes, or rhinos? Research backs this up, actually. Dozens of studies show that the smaller and more stereotypically baby a human or animal looks, the more we want to protect it. One investigation found that seeing pictures of baby animals makes us smile, while another discovered that photos of human infants trigger the nucleus accumbens, a brain region implicated in the anticipation of a reward. Even less common pets like rabbits, snakes, fish, and bearded dragons, to name a few, are all smaller than human beings. Could it be that one classification of a pet is that it has to be smaller than us? Why are we okay with keeping pets in environments that they weren't made for? I think the husky is the most beautiful dog breed, especially when they have heterochromia or 2 different eye colors. But seeing someone walking a husky outside in Texas when it's 40 degrees Celsius outside, yeah, I'm not sure about that, because huskies can live in conditions of negative 50 degrees Celsius. Is it humane to raise a pet in an environment that it's not naturally accustomed to? One overlooked aspect of owning a pet is the cost. The total estimated annual cost for owning a dog is $380 to $1,170, and the total estimated annual cost for owning a cat is $430 to $870. Personally, I don't think that this is expensive, but when every dollar counts, is it a good idea to have a pet? Anecdotally speaking, I've met a number of people who own more than one pet who live paycheck to paycheck. What if a major expense pops up, like a car repair bill or a medical bill? Will the owner be able to take care of themselves, and will they be able to take care of their animal when money is tight? My take, after doing all this reading and research, I feel like having a pet is unethical. From everything I talked about in this video, the reason that pokes out the most is because owning a pet is humanly selfish. We selfishly took these beautiful animals out of the wild and domesticated them to use them for our own physical or emotional needs. Through artificial selection, we breed traits that suit human wants and needs the best, not what's best for the animal. Animal breeders breed millions of animals every year to meet the demands of pet ownership, and when they aren't adopted, hundreds of thousands of millions are killed or euthanized. There's millions of animals in shelters because of abandonment and neglect. While we have good intentions, and it's always best to adopt from shelters, it isn't getting to the core of the issue. Humans have created the system because they want animals as pets. How can we solve this? Telling someone to free their pet isn't a solution. It's gotten to the point of no return, where even if we free our pets, they wouldn't survive because of their dependency on humans. If you find all these facts tragic like I do and want to do something, I think one way is to reduce pet ownership. If you have a pet right now, continue loving them. Give them a warm place to sleep every night and love them with all of your heart. And when it's their time to go and they naturally pass, cherish their memory with love. One thing that has always stuck out to me as odd, that's common for when an owner loses a pet, typically through old age and natural causes, the pet owner will go out and get a new one, a replacement, sometimes within the same week the previous pet passed away. Personally, I don't think I could do that. When you spend 10 plus years with an animal and love them so much, getting a new one so quickly feels like you're just replacing them and changing it out for a new model, like they didn't mean much. Things we can stop today. There are certain things that are happening today that we can stop right now that would make the world a better place. One is paying any amount for a pet. This will eliminate or reduce the incentive for for-profit companies to have animal mills. Putting a price tag on pure breeds or certain physical characteristics is dystopian to me, but it exists today. Make pets adoption only. Another is ending animal shows. For example, the National Dog Show. People arbitrarily judge dogs for their physical characteristics and abilities. This creates a market where people are paying bucket loads of money for purebred animals. One of the dogs in the litter is what they're looking for, but if the others aren't, they see the same fate as unwanted puppies from puppy mills. Also, a common way to get a purebred dog is through inbreeding, and that causes health issues that are passed down for generations. The term purebred is questionable at best. How far back do records go? How is this stuff authenticated? It just feeds into the animal industrial complex, and I can't help feel like it's all malarkey. Another thing I think that we should stop doing today, and what I find weird, are these pet influencer accounts, social media accounts completely dedicated to a single animal. I'm surprised that internet companies even allow this kind of thing because it is exploitative. The owners are profiting off of the cuteness of their animal. I completely understand when you post your cute pet on your social media account every now and again, sharing their cuteness to the world, but these types of social media channels take it to a completely new level that I do not think is ethical at all. Conclusion: it is difficult for me to accept that owning a pet is ethical, but where pets are today is complex. I strongly agree with these statements from a Guardian article on the ethics of pet ownership. We do have pets, and giving them up might cause more harm than good. It has already been decided by market forces and human nature. The reality is people have pets in the millions. The question is, how can we help them care for them correctly and appropriately? This aligns with my personal mantra of love and acceptance. If you already own a pet, continue taking care of it with all of your heart. If you don't have a pet, consider that if you love these animals, it may not be in their best interest to own one as a pet. I personally choose not to own a pet, but I stand for personal autonomy and won't judge a person for owning one. I, for one, will continue petting cute puppies and kittens only after I ask the permission of the owner, even though I'm allergic to both cats and dogs. Outro. Thank you so much for joining me in exploring the ethics.
Yo, did you get the link that I sent in the chat?
Yeah, I got 2 links in the chat. We're gonna pull up is it this one? No.
Yeah, that's one of the videos that kind of opened my eyes to this topic.
What was this video, Nathan?
It's just funny, mate. Go and play it for a few seconds because it's come on.
It's
relevant.
From 115.
Relevant.
Yeah, it is relevant. Yeah. 115. Go to.
Got it.
Help make this dog a little smarter, would you?
I thought the whole point of having a dog was to feel.
Oh, that's my favorite episode.
Where are my testicles, Summer? Where are my testicles, Summer? They were removed. Where have they gone?
Oh, wow. That's an intense line of questioning, Snuffles.
Do not call me that.
Oh,
Snuffles
shit.
was my slave name. You shall now call me Snowball, because my fur is pretty and white.
Okay, Snowball, just calm down, okay? You're scaring me.
Scaring you? Tell me, Summer, if a human was born with stumpy legs, would they breed it with another deformed human and put their children on display like the dachshund?
Hey. Oh, wow. Okay. Is everything okay in here?
Jerry, come to rub my face in urine again.
No. No, we
Oh,
were
shit.
just seeing if Summer wanted to
Go on one of our famous midnight family walks. Yeah, totally. Let's go.
Oh boy.
You will walk when it is time to walk. Taking over the human's world will lead to nothing but more heartbreak, more cruelty. Instead, we will go to a new world and colonize it with a society of intelligent dogs. One that will not make the same mistakes as humanity.
Oh
And
my
one
God,
where
yeah.
pet insurance will be mandatory.
I'm gonna miss you, Snowball.
You can call me Snuffles, Morty. And I'm going to miss you too. Very much.
That was hilarious. That was
Best
really good.
episode of Rick and Morty.
Super based Rick and Morty. What up, Devin?
What's up, dude?
What?
I was just, yeah, man, this is a topic that it always weighs heavily on me.
Yeah.
I think one of the conclusions I've come to is, like, going back to what we were talking about earlier, being good stewards, good guardians, and kind of picking up the pieces that are in front of us right now. But if at all possible, you know, if we could structure things for like maybe like a phase out program.
This is a really brief comment by video.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Like just basically like phase out the breeding of animals for our pleasure, you know, and get it back to like a relationship on their terms.
Well, it's like I think about cats and like the whole, it kind of goes back to the trap and release and spaying and neutering. That's always been a hard one just because it's like you obviously, I mean, like the clip we just watched, like you're
violating
violating, their
property rights,
their bodies, right? But then you're also, it's another human created problem. Quote unquote problem, if you want to call it that, but it's
so
just
they're
as far
getting screwed either way for nothing.
Yeah.
Their
So
fault.
it's like, okay, and like the conclusion of that video was that YouTuber said he's done with owning pets, and again, that's a tough one, just because at least for me personally, I know I'm in a position where, I mean, already adopt, don't shop 100%, only would adopt animals, but I'm even more of a position where I'd feel bad adopting adoptable animals. And so, you know, I only see myself taking care of animals in those sort of extreme situations, and I guess advocating against pet ownership in a way, because it's hard because there's nuance in the topic, but most people
Very triggering.
are unable to, either they morally don't have the principles, or just like they're unable to sort of see that nuance. And like he was saying, like most people, they're not most people, but a lot of people, their animal dies, they get a replacement because it's an object, it's an item, it's a piece of property that's serving them.
Yeah.
So it's a tough topic. I've
It's as triggering as veganism.
It's
You know,
super
people are like,
triggering. I can't
with
tell you how
animals.
many vegans are triggered when you tell them that maybe they shouldn't own a dog or a cat or have pets. Because I think most of them were brought to veganism by making the connection with their pets. So they don't see like the bigger picture, like the moral issue.
Yeah, and then like with in that video and what you were saying there about the genitalia mutilation that you've got the state says you've got to do it, or vaccinate them, or worm them and freaking chip them and all of this kind of stuff. Yeah, there's that side of it as well, isn't there? Can you hear
What's
me?
his video, Devin?
So this guy, I kind of touch base with him from time to time. He's a vegan guy. I think he's a Canadian. His big thing is like linguistics, kind of like a worldly guy. But he talks about issues that come up in the vegan community, for lack of a better term, and calling out people on their hypocrisy and bullshit and sleazy actions and immoral behavior. He's kind of seems like a left-leaning guy, I would say. But I feel like on this topic in particular, he has a really good take, very pretty well researched. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks a little familiar. If I'm not mistaken, didn't him and Durian Rider have some sort of disagreement about something, and they were making videos about each other years ago?
So he's gotten into it with quite a few of the bigger YouTube. I think he was a little more well known maybe back in like 2015, 16, 17, when he was like trying to like
someone in my chat just commented in response to my 30-minute lecture about Buddhism.
Sorry again.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, should we watch it?
Yeah, run it.
This is a really brief comment by video. Someone in my chat just commented in response to my 30-minute lecture about Buddhism in connection with veganism, future of ecology, etc., said, this makes it sound like you're an animal lover, even though you're not. Okay, what does it mean to be an animal lover? Okay, if you love your children, if you love a child you adopt with no blood relation to you, you cannot want that child to remain a child forever. It can't be that your love is based on keeping them in a situation of perpetual dependency. I think in some cases it is. I think some parents do feel that way. I think on an emotional level, some parents want the baby to always be a baby, or they have so much fun taking care of a 6-year-old, they want it to always be a 6-year-old. But real love for a child has to ultimately aim at helping that child achieve independence. You have to want that child to be independent. And we don't use the word love for it so often in English, but if you just have a friend, if you just have a colleague at work, ultimately your love for them must also be based on wanting them to lead an independent life. It can't be, oh, I have so much respect for this work colleague or this friend I have as two adults, and you want them to be in your constant care. Now, if you have a friend, whether it's your wife or your daughter or your mother or your grandmother, and sometimes they're sick and you have to take care of them, of course, that's a wonderful thing that in that situation of dependency, you care for them. But the concept of being an animal lover, in as much as it rests on the presumption of keeping a domesticated animal in a state of perpetual dependency, I think is sick and wrong and immoral. I think it has to be based on a respect for, a love for wild animals living their own lives on their own terms. So, if I want the best for an animal, if in some sense I love an animal, why is that incompatible with my wanting them to have an independent life? Why would it be based on my continually nurturing them in the sense of keeping them in a sickbed, right? Even if I love my own grandfather, it can't be that I love my grandfather, therefore I want him to be in a sickbed all the time with me nurturing him. It must be that I want him to have some kind of independence. So again, whether it's your child or an older relative or a work colleague who's the same age.
All right, Nathan, I think you said it's getting late there. Nathan's in the UK. We did an ultra early show.
Be bugging out at some point here. This guy's got some points. But it does make me think about the fact that all these animals do exist, and I guess it is a human problem because dogs would have originally been wolves, right? And we wouldn't really be keeping wolves as pets. But yeah, it's been a good show. Thank you for inviting me on. I've enjoyed myself, and thanks.
What's your channel name?
So I've got a lot off my chest. Certainly earlier on. Just look for, if anyone's still listening, it's under my name, Nathan Riddett. So yeah, I've got a lot of vegan content and natural law based stuff.
Yeah, one of the kings of the One Great Work Network. In the house. One of the few.
Well, I do think
a lot of respect for your work, man.
I really appreciate it.
man.
Thank you ever so much.
Keep your spirits up, bro.
Yeah, it's been tough.
It's
man.
rough over there in the UK right now, man.
Oh my
God, I can't believe, bro.
COVID ruined my business. I've had a few personal losses as well, and relationship breakdowns and stuff. So that's been a bit of a rough ride the last few years. But I've put out quite a bit of content, and I want to get back to it. So I appreciate the platform. I really do.
Thanks, man. Yeah, man. When it rains, it pours, but that usually means that you're going to be in an upswing soon.
Yeah, the swing
when a lot of bad stuff happens.
Sure. No, much respect.
Right,
thank you so much, guys. Yeah, see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Take care, brother.
Great guy.
Yeah. What a nice guy. What a super voice.
An honor.
Yeah. That was fun.
Did you want to keep watching that video?
Yeah, we'll keep watching that video. We'll play it out.
Share that screen, boy.
He's got funny.
I do think that wanting the best for someone, loving someone, ultimately has to have on the horizon as the imagined outcome that you're supporting some kind of independence, some kind of self-determination for that person. And on the contrary, if you hate someone, if you fear someone, if you can't trust someone, if they're a danger to society, if you want to see them put in chains, kept in a prison, kept behind bars, kept in a state of dependency, precisely to deprive them of that independence because they're a threat, because they're a danger you have you, that's obviously not love, right? I think there is a sense in which we do care for dangerous criminals. I think that's really worth philosophizing about. I do. But domesticating an animal.
No, Nikki. Not at all.
Whether you're keeping it in a kennel, in a zoo, in a cage, in an actual prison, or you're keeping it in your living room, and depriving it of its testicles, depriving it of its normal sex life, of its normal instincts, of its normal behavior, giving it a life in which it never even learns to feed itself. It never learns to forage for food in the woods, giving it a life where it can never have independence, where you've broken its will and so on. To me, that's not love. I don't think you can legitimately claim to be an animal lover if your idea of caring for an animal is turning it into a toy. I also do not think you can really claim to love a human being if your idea of love for that person is to turn them into a toy. Probably, I think there are probably some sick horror movies about that aspect of human nature I haven't seen, I want to think about. But I mean, I think we can all relate to that too. You know, whether it's love between boyfriend and girlfriend or between parent and child, sometimes love can be too controlling. Sometimes people want to turn someone into their pet in some sense. You know what I mean? I think it's a problem. I think these are dark tendencies that exist in human nature, not just in relation to animals, not just in relation to domesticated pets. Am I an animal lover if I exercise my love and respect for animals by wanting them to live independent lives out in the wild and not in my living room? I want them to live in the forest, not in my living room. When you look into the eyes of a cow has bigger eyes than a human being and has a bigger brain than a human being. It can suffer, etc. Doesn't mean I like the way cows smell. Don't kid yourself. These animals smell the way they do for a reason. They have their own pheromones. They have their own society. They have their own reason for looking the way they do, acting the way they do, smelling the way they do. Cats have claws for a reason. And it's not for your entertainment. Okay? We literally live in a dog-eat-dog world. I recently had a very brief appearance on my channel from Sniper Wolf, who's a well-known YouTube personality. She had 2 pet dogs, and one of them was killed, was eaten by a wild dog. So it's a domesticated dog. It was torn apart. I'm sorry, I forget the name of the breed of dog. It was one of the variety, not a wolf, but another type of wild canine. Devoured her pet dog in her backyard. Came over the fence. It's literally a dog-eat-dog world. And I know it's hard to look at the kind of comfort you may provide an animal and to see that as something that's depriving them of the life of the mind for them, the life of their instincts, the life that they really yearn to live, which is a life that includes danger, the same way that human beings yearn for danger. Human beings don't want to live in a totally safe prison cell either. This is my response to the question, someone saying, it sounds like you're an animal lover, John. I am an animal lover because I respect animals. I would prefer to use words like respect rather than love. But what I want for them is for them to have independence, is for them to have lives of dignity, not to have lives of dependency.
And he has a couple other videos on that topic, but yeah, I just thought it was pretty pertinent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the key word there is dignity.
Yeah, you're stripping them of everything that they are outside of just being, and you're enslaving them like we were talking about earlier. It's straight up slavery. These people don't get that how they treat animals is how they would treat humans if they were in power. I said it earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it's just they don't get it, and they call themselves truthers, but they just don't want to do the work, or they don't have the willpower to do the work. Even though being vegan is awesome for so many different reasons. Yeah. But anyway, next episode is going to be a big I have a couple religious dudes, Christian dudes who want to debate the premise of the debate is veganism is unbiblical.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think that'll be.
Do I need to rally the troops?
Yeah, that'll be a pretty fun one.
I'm gonna call in my girlfriend. I'm gonna call in a few other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And even though we're all a little none of us have really great biblical arguments piled up. We're not as concise as some of the natural law stuff or anything. We're getting close, and I'd like to know enough to be able to just smash these guys. Already it's kind of easy already. If there's only one account of him eating fish, then he was at worst a vegetarian. I ate fish once. I'm vegan, like that. What kind of it's more of that goofy logic, just like that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so the bit The that one will be crazy because like it's almost more guys want to debate over veganism in the Bible than anything. Like dudes that are like willing to show up. But like we need to sharpen up. So we're gonna have a couple guys come on and put us to the test, because that's why we have an open show, so people could come and press us on these things. But everyone's too scared. It's really funny. The amount of people that say they're going to come up to this show every week during the week, and then don't, it's shocking.
They want to stay in the safety of the Facebook comment section.
Yeah, worthless activism.
You fucking losers!
They think they're like losers. Dipshit. Justin today is telling me, "Oh, you don't think me exposing the
fucking losers?
You don't think me exposing the Christian zealots, blah 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 blah, is actually doing anything?" And I'm like, "No, dude, nothing you do on Facebook is doing
fucking
anything."
Trash apes.
Yeah.
We're not in your fucking meat industry.
Hey,
Propaganda
that's why I worked up the courage to make a YouTube video finally.
I saw that. That looked good.
Yeah,
Look how good Braxy's getting too. Braxy's getting real good on camera.
Yeah.
Dude, I think we've gone over a year. This is 34 episodes, bro.
Wow.
34 episodes. Where's Bracky?
I was going to say, man, I was listening earlier and I was like, dude, we sound like a pretty well put together show now.
It's getting better. I mean, you better be better after 34 episodes, you know.
Yeah, this is great.
But yeah.
I love your all's situation here.
Thanks for everything, Steve. Old Steve.
Oh,
Me
no
and
problem,
Steve
man.
have been friends on Facebook since the olden days, and we've had run-ins with each other, but I don't think either of us remember what it was about. But I know, like whenever I see this dude on Facebook, I know this dude's been around. And I noticed, I looked back in our comments, you've been sending me natural law shit for years, trying to get me to get into more into Mark Passio, and you might be the only person who really like did that a lot. Which is kind of a trip.
Wow.
So thanks. Yeah, you've sent me several like Mark Passio videos over the years randomly. I don't know why, but I wasn't ready to see them yet because I needed a hot chick to get me more interested in it again.
Oh, I see how it works.
Yeah, if she
yeah, whatever. Man.
You're not a hot chick, man.
If she could get me into spirituality, she could get anyone into spirituality.
I mean,
So look out, One Great Work Network.
I say you're not wrong.
Allie's taking the Mark's course, his media course right now. Yeah, she's what, an eighth of the way through it. It's a long course.
But yeah, it's getting good though.
Yeah, it's very long.
Infiltration.
She's gonna be my little she's gonna be my little Trojan horse editing machine to raise my value, the content quality of my content, the quality of my content.
I see how it is.
Yes, that's the plot, babe.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a team effort.
My own stuff.
Yeah. Eat your heart out, boys. Anyway, that's 3 hours. You want to talk about anything, Devin? What happened with your last sabbing event? Your last protest? I heard you guys got somewhere. You got a geez, that was a lot of stuttering.
Biden over
You got
here.
Like a victory of some kind?
You got a clothing manufacturer to stop using.
Oh, yeah. So the last one I went to was a protest at Anne Fontaine. And then shortly after that, they announced a fur-free policy. This year alone has been, I think, 4 pretty big victories. I was looking at our, somebody made a post about all 4 of them. There was Max Mara, Anne Fontaine, Mark Jacobs, and there was another one. just a couple of big fashion
Marc Jacobs,
houses.
that's big.
Yeah, Marc Jacobs. Yeah, they announced fur-free policy.
That's dope.
Yeah, we're still
It's funny
working
because
on
all these
the
companies have
mothership.
gone back and forth on all that shit over the years. You know, like once
Yeah.
everyone stopped paying attention, they start doing fur and stuff again. And at this
Yeah.
point, they shouldn't be doing leather. They shouldn't be doing wool. They shouldn't be doing anything.
Well,
like
a
that.
lot of them don't even sell leather. A lot of them still are selling like the pleather stuff too.
That's good.
So yeah, it's kind of just like low hanging fruit, or just like trying to just cut off the last vestiges of this animal abuse in these. Yeah, we're holding them accountable. Like, you know, our focus is putting pressure on the company, and you know, there's both sides of it. You know, obviously we want to get rid of the demand for the product, but the consumer base for that product is kind of like, you know, upper crusty and stuff anyway. I mean, they're hardly in the mindset of doing like vegan and all that. But if we can put pressure and make these companies look ugly, like, you know, they should be ashamed to be in our midst. Like, we shouldn't be in a polite society, and you shouldn't be able to like set up shop and start selling like dead animal carcasses and shit. Like, we should shame you out of our little village, you know? It's kind of that idea.
Yeah, and that's how it would happen in anarchy land. In a
Exactly.
government, in a world without government, we would be in free market. Yeah.
Yeah, in a real free market economy, yeah, like good moral people would shame them out of business and run them out of town, and that's part of our
And there wouldn't be
chance, too.
subsidies.
There wouldn't be subsidies. Yeah, I mean, there wouldn't even be a place for them to set up the places to abuse the animals in the first place.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's people attacking the root of that issue too. I mean, you know, my hat's off to the militant vegans out there that go and do, you know, the dirty work.
Yeah.
With, you know, ski masks on and hidden cameras.
This is the kind of protest that actually does work at least a small percentage of the time. Not like protesting government. You protest government, you get pepper sprayed in the face. That's why it's like all these dudes, they're just protesting from home. That's all they're doing. It's complete nonsense activism. Protesting from home inside an echo chamber on the most censored platform that we have access to. And it's just funny. That's why I don't even really do activist. I don't do anything on there anymore outside of just look for reasons to spam, you know, people's comments with videos of the show, you know, like
I noticed that now your answer when somebody
I mean-
tags you or says something is just to post a link to your videos.
Yeah, I know. Deb, have you seen the comments? The amount of comments some of those memes I'm posting are getting? It's been like,
oh yeah,
a month now of like everything I post getting like 400 comments, like just people. I don't even know who or where these people came from. They're not following me on there, but it's like hundreds of people that are being sent to me from someone, and my Facebook's been getting reported like crazy.
They're getting bussed in.
Yeah,
I bet you it's Justin.
They're setting up the pallets with bricks.
Yeah.
I bet you it's Justin.
That's a good one. Nice one there. Oh, but yeah, so I guess I'm on target. You know, if you're catching flack, you're probably on target.
Oh, yeah.
Starting to get, you know, and like I said, 34 episodes. We should have something going by now. We're definitely better at what we're doing. I'm definitely preparing more, and I'm doing notes and stuff. And like, where the first 20 episodes, I didn't have videos set up to watch. I just took, you know, ideas off the top of our heads. So it's getting better. I was excited about today. Today was fun. I knew today was going to be a good one. We have big news probably next week. Can't say anything about it now, but big news on the horizon in the next couple episodes. We'll have things are going to be changing.
Nice tech.
I think so.
Nice kit.
With help of all the homies. Devin likes coming on the show with guns and getting my videos demonetized.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it under control. Just little hints of it.
That post. Don't that post, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trying to flip the script on what people think vegans are.
Yeah, no, well, that's the whole thing. We're breaking the stereotype of every vegan being libs, and it's
Yeah.
funny watching Carnists treat us like libs, and then our reactions. That's been the most fun part because they just assume, like, when I've done debates on like on the Crucible, they just all assume we were libs. And so they talk to us like libs, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like, well,
Big belly
anarcho-capitalist.
laugh.
Oh, you're probably against guns, right? We're like, no.
I'm like, I pull my shotgun out from the corner. Like, what are you
Have
talking
nicer
about?
guns than you, bro.
And we've talked about this before. All the vegans I know are hardcore anarchists. So it's like, I don't know what this lib thing is. And and like, if and veganism came from the vegan straight edge hardcore movement for the most part, which so that got co-opted. Me and my friends, the government was scared of all me and my friends back in the day. We were looked at as a dangerous gang by the government, and so they co-opted it and turned it from militant white kids pissed off at the government, vegan white kids that don't drink, don't do drugs, don't get caught up in social norm bullshit. They co-opted it from us and turned it into libs. And so it's it's our job to take it back.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys were like hardcore scene, like hate breed and stuff?
Yeah, dude, I was
all
up in that shit in the
Dude,
90s.
bro, Mark was way into
Yeah,
that.
I know. Mark's a hardcore kid. I know that. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he has that band, The Founder.
yeah, I'm gonna sing for that band someday.
Rip the Founders.
If it comes back together.
Dude, I'll fly out to pile on and sing along, do windmills and pick up change and do the two-step.
3%ers.
Oh, you guys. Okay, before we go, Devin, you're gonna die when you hear these lyrics. I've shown you some rad music lyrics about veganism.
Yeah.
There's a new band we heard of called Street Justice. Where are they from? Canadian, I think. They're Canadian. Street Justice, rad hardcore band. The lyrics of this song are about our show.
Oh, wow.
It's like if I wrote a hardcore song, it would be this song, basically.
So is that our new intro?
No, I'll play the song, but I'll pull the lyrics up and I'll talk along as he's screaming it. What's it called? Taste of Meat. The song's called The Taste of Meat.
No, it's just Taste of Meat.
Oh, Taste of Meat. Oh, okay. That's a big difference, babe. It didn't come out. Yeah, hold on. Devin, talk for a second. I'm gonna do some searching. Or Steve.
Oh, so yeah, I was just gonna make a comment about like how vegan hardcore, and like we've talked to somebody in the activist community who was talking about like, oh, I'm gonna stop drinking and stuff, and I've been listening to that music and I've been more exposed to it, and it's just like the conclusion we came to is like the discipline that it takes, to live your life in that way. And it's similar to the discipline it takes to understand these principles and hold yourself to them, hold yourself accountable, to do the right thing.
Yes. Have you been listening to Earth Crisis?
I don't know if that one in particular, but T always turns me on to all that stuff. I mean, she's into hate breed.
I know I owe you a playlist.
Yeah,
I told you a long time ago I'd make you a playlist, and I need to do that.
Moral Law is another group she showed me.
That's cool. Sick name. Moral law.
I know. I was like, I heard the name and I was like, perfect.
But yeah, I'm waiting for the lyrics to come up for some reason. I mean,
I noticed some people in
squeezing a
the
lot out of
chat
the internet.
knew about that guy, Abba Luciel. They knew all about him.
Who?
The video that I suggested, the bald guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a little bit of background information on him.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, I guess.
What happened?
Yeah, I guess he's just a character that's kind of known a little bit in the vegan community. He just doesn't get along with everybody. Like he's tried to work with so many different people. He's tried to talk to Vegan Gains, talked to Durian Rider.
Yeah, he's just a YouTuber guy trying to get clout, probably.
But
Okay,
but he
so the
doesn't
lyrics
have
of this-
any clout. It's been around for like 10 years and has like 20,000 followers.
So, we haven't talked about. Did you see Will Keller and Logan Paul Logan Paul? That's hilarious. Logan
Hart.
They're starting their own scam network.
Oh, I
$600.
saw a post. I wasn't sure what to make of it, but they're starting their own. Huh?
That's more than Mark charges for his stuff.
Oh God. So they're starting their own school like thing like he is doing, not a different website.
I told you they were factioning out.
Oh.
And that's what they're doing. They're doing their own
because
version
Daddy
where they
called
get
him
away with
out.
being
Daddy called him out behind the scenes, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, Steve, did you see that? Yeah, you saw that. You were in the chat. We haven't talked about that yet. That was a big one I was supposed to talk to you today. So, yeah, they're starting their own scam network like I called several months ago. Holy crap. What the hell are these guys going to teach people?
Zodiac shit. They're gonna do like card readings.
Card readings. Literally. New age bullshit.
New age bullshit.
Debunked. We've already debunked animism, bro. Animism is completely vegan.
Yep.
You don't use something if you don't have to. That's the principle of veganism. We don't have to eat animals. So
yeah,
we don't.
The hierarchy
don't
of
have to eat
consciousness.
animals. Yeah. These guys don't have to eat animals, but they do anyway. And then they're like, oh, well, I respect the animal I'm eating. I do a prayer over it before I eat it. Like, fuck off. Trash.
They should respect like
Here's a
clams
song
and
for
mussels
you.
or something.
You fucking losers! You're in a fucking cult. I'm not in your cult. You're gonna find out that you fucked with the wrong one, boy.
The slide whistle king, man.
Yeah.
He should introduce the slide whistle to the Founders music.
Oh, like she called it. Yeah. Oh. So
Yeah.
did you see? So Logan completely rearranged his room so you couldn't see the stains on his couch anymore, or on the ground and on his couch anymore. Will Keller shaved. He's not wearing the button-up shirt I've made fun of him about wearing. He's just wearing t-shirts now, and he's kind of acting a little bit more himself. But he took like 2 weeks off from like broadcasting. He did like a boatload of stuff. Came back like looking and acting different. Like, what happened, dude?
Yeah.
Listening to advice. So anyway, the lyrics to this song. Listen to the lyrics of this song, bro.
All right.
What if you're stranded on an island? You see these canines. I'm basically a lion. I need meat to survive, but a world without cheese, I'd rather fucking die. Thoughts and prayers for a burning forest. The top of the food chain don't need to forage. Free range, grass fed, organic meathead. Straight spitting facts, self righteous vegans. Save your breath. Spare me your guilt trip. You'll never change the world. You'll never change my mind. I'll take twice as much every time you try. I respect your right to eat what you like because I'm cool like that. Now check your privilege and let me be, because animal life means less to me than the taste of meat. Don't try to blur the lines between the lives we love and the lives that we bred to kill. Alternatives that I won't try because I don't like that shit, and I never fucking will. Diet don't melt. Tofu ain't real. I'm a grown-ass baby drinking mama's milk. Ain't no plant-based diet gonna fuel these gains. I need a dozen eggs just to lift these weights. Save your breath. Spare me your guilt trick. You'll never change the world. You'll never change my mind. I'll take twice as much every time you try. I respect your right to eat what you like because I'm cool like that. Now check your privilege. Let me be, because animal life means less to me, because everyone's life means less to me than the taste of meat.
Damn.
Oh, those are
That's
good
like
lyrics.
every dude we talk to says that
It
shit.
literally encapsulates all of the arguments we hear online.
Street Justice. Check this band out. They are really good. Kind of old school hardcore, but like fast and fun, and just every song is this good lyrically. It's like they're amazing.
Don't have enough views on
Yeah,
YouTube.
they have
or
like
Spotify.
9 views on these
Oh,
songs, dude. It's
God.
awful. Like, yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, they're really, all the lyrics are really good, just making fun of Carnus, basically. So I gotta put you together a legit. Well, you gotta watch the show from the other day. I played a lot of the classics, but I'll get you
Yeah,
vegan straight
the
edge hardcore.
pre-show.
Yeah, so me and Allie are Cali straight edge these days.
Yeah, Cali
It's
straight
coined a
edge.
new
You're funny.
term, Cali straight edge.
Cannabis is
Straight edge, but we
Trying to make
smoke
that
weed.
stick, huh?
Weed's not bad for you. Someone's gonna punch me someday for that.
I don't know if I'm
I
full straight edge. Do they drink
Jack
tea?
is not coming back. Thanks for everything this week, Steve.
Oh, thank you.
Steve
Thank
Slav.
you so much. I had a blast here. You guys are absolutely astronomically stellar, and I love you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Devin, for swinging by the rare occasion.
Of course.
Thanks, Bracky, for leaving an hour ago. Not coming back. But at least it makes it look like there's more
Keeping
people
the seat
on.
warm over there.
Yeah, thanks
he
for
had to
having
take
the
care of his
screen
doggy.
open. Yeah, keeping the seat warm. We appreciate it as always and everything you do.
Till next week when the topic is biblical veganism, and then Allie's needs to start chatting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Follow
contact a
me
few
on
people.
YouTube. Oh, what's that, Devin?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you guys got slots full for that, but I have a few people in mind for that topic.
Yeah. Definitely.
Nice.
Oh, I was just gonna say I never plug my YouTube, but Light Occult Revival on YouTube if y'all want to follow me. I'm really excited about that new name that I stole from Mark. So thanks for that. And he can let me know if he wants me to stop using it, if he wants to use it.
We saw him say that once in a video, and then he like went and wrote it down. Yeah, on the show. And then he like wrote it down. He was like, "Ooh, that was a good one."
We need a Light
We're like,
Occult
"Ooh, I'm gonna
Revival. And
steal
then
that."
yeah, he ran. I'm like,
Oh, that's your new
I'm
That's
writing
pretty
it.
legit.
Yeah, for sure. But
Hell yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And I'm Devin Reclaimed on YouTube. I don't have much going on yet. To be
You
continued.
got one new video.
Oh yeah, I gotta check that out. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm slavsquatch.com. Me and my buddy, we broke through a cult. You guys can check it out.
Devin here has always leaned on me to go to look more into Mark Passio's stuff too. He was the one who called me out for doing so many environmental and health debates when I should be doing moral debates.
Where's the natural law stuff, man? Come on.
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
Having you show up and be like, "What are you doing, man? This is boring." I was like, "Oh shit, Devin's mad. I should probably listen to what he's saying."
Yeah, I just feel like they're gonna be speechless on that topic, and they don't really have much to go off of.
It's all really easy too. It's low hanging
Yeah.
fruit to go at. You know, it's like the health debate is not a debate. The environmental debate is not a debate anymore.
Yeah,
We know
like you
everything. Me
showed,
and
we've
Allie have
got
looked it
mountains
up.
of evidence for that, but let's dig real deep into who you are as a person. not a bunch of, science jargon that none of us are really concerned about, truth be
Yeah,
told.
sorry, I was a little distracted before, but you were saying those clout tards are like trying to start their own network or something?
Yeah. No, like
Oh,
a month,
wow.
like a couple months ago, I was making videos and I was like, dude, these guys are factioning out. They started saying animism instead of natural law, and they started
Dude, I'm
like
telling
just
you, they're in
like
the
talking
James
about this
True.
bullshit.
I'm saying, dude, they're in the James True hypnotizes these people on his YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
no, that's what they're
And-
doing. They're totally doing the regular marketing, hypnotize everyone with content, worthless content, make them pay just because of clout chase. It's insane. But yeah, they're $600. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Yeah, or it's is it, what did they say? It was coaching or some sort of like seminar class type deal. But yeah,
Yeah, come to our retreat where you could helpfully cut your dick off.
$600, bro. I got your $600 right here. This is more useful.
And Michael Aquino could come right away and
Pretty
sacrifice
whack, bro.
to his-
Pretty whack, bro.
It's pretty whack, bro.
This is way fun, guys.
It's pretty whack, bro.
Yeah, that's
Evan,
no, yeah, Steve, that's Will, right?
Yeah. I heard him say that stuff. It's like completely vapid, nothing like ad homs. He's just like, oh, I'm so mad. It's like, dude, you're a baby. What?
He called our show whack.
Yeah, that was a comment about our show.
He's talking literally about the show.
That's a
Is that
soundbite
Mr.
of him calling us whack.
It's pretty
Is
whack,
that
bro.
Mr. Peanut Butter saying that?
That's Mr. fucking Peanut Butter.
Yo, Mr. Peanut Butter.
It's pretty whack, bro.
Never spaghetti.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's never gonna age well, dude.
It's an alarm clock.
That's your
It's pretty
alarm.
whack, bro.
It's
You'll
gonna
find the
age
fuck
like
out,
vinegar,
boy.
dude.
You're gonna find out that you fucked with the wrong one, boy.
All right, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Love you guys. Thank you for everything.
All right, love you guys.
Next week. Bye.
Take care,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone. Cheers.